radio side of things of the anniversary show tonight. So thank you so much for making it. Spooky Morales, how you doing, buddy? I can't wait for your trumpet at the end of the show, bud. Hope you got it warmed up. Chad Smith is here, the Chad Smith. And there is lovely Laura. Thank you so much for the super chat. Mennonite Abe, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for joining us. Project Blue Book, good to see you. And who else do we have here? My God, there's Lynn Wallington. Lynn effin' Wallington right there. Yeah, she is the best weekend host we have ever had. And she's magical, too. Sunsaver, welcome back. Thank you for joining us. $5,900, good to see you. The gorgeous Sonia's News is here. And I'm going to run out of time here, everybody, because I know everybody wants to say hello and congratulations. We love it. We accept it, but I'll try and get a few more in here. Black Dragon, Semper Fi to you, my veteran friend. Sensational Sherry Knight, good to see you. Nightmare Moon, welcome to our chat room. We appreciate that. Marty Burbick, how are you, buddy? Nice to have you here. And Science Bob, thank you so much. Wow, dude. Thank you very much, Science Bob, for that amazing super chat. Wow. Richard Elmore, thank you for joining us. Hey, everybody, do me a favor. Get your horns up, because, ooh, feedback. We're going to rock. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read up on Shirky Poo's Newswire, and check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find it on our website. I got to tell you, it has been 7 years of pure fun, pure bliss, pure anger, pure stress, pure hair pulling, pure swearing, and pure everything. But you know what? There is no place that I would rather be than on Spaced Out Radio with all of you listening in and the amazing people that we have met over the last 7 years. Tonight is going to be a tribute to the show, to our guests, and to our listeners for coming here every day and making this show what it's worth. When I started this show on November 30th, 2014, I had no idea what podcasting was. When I left terrestrial radio on July 4th, 2007, when I signed off the air at 10:47 p.m. Pacific time for the final time, I swore that I was never getting back into radio. Boy, was I wrong. Boy, am I happy I've made that decision to come back a few years later. I knew nothing about podcasting until a good friend, Johnny Enoch, came in and said, Dave, you got to do this. I said, Johnny, you just can't walk into a radio station to say, I want a nighttime gig, give me that time slot. That's not how it works. Then he introduced me to digital radio, and we were off and running. Soon we came the name of Spaced Out Radio. Little weird, little fun, little woo. Then we started booking guests, and my goodness, the guests we've had from day one on have been absolutely incredible. There's been some ups over the years. There's been some downs. There's been a lot of really cool things that have happened over the last 7 years. But the most thing that I'm proud of is the guarantee we've made to our audience. We're always here. We're always here. We're here nightly. We're here 7 days a week. We're here for you. We're here for us. We're here to tell the stories of the people who are having some incredible experiences and creating some phenomenal research in every piece of woo that we can find. Whether it's ghosts, whether it's UFOs, whether it's cryptids like Bigfoot or Dogman, consciousness, psychic ability, anything in between. We've heard it all. We've laughed together. We've got angry together. We've cried a little bit together on some very sad stories that we have broadcast over the years that just touched our hearts. But you know what? It's worth it. It's worth it because these are stories that need to be told from not only a journalistic level, but for an audience level as well, for those who are going through the exact same experiences of the phenomena that we are trying to produce ourselves. Now, it takes a lot of people to put this on. And over the years, we've had an amazing amount of people who've come and gone over the years. And you know what? I thank each and every one of them for being a part, even if it's for a brief history of Spaced Out Radio, to our current team now, which includes Lynn Wallington on the weekends, which includes Gail, a.k.a. Shirky Poo, who does an incredible job with our news, and we love her so much. Whether it's our booking team of Spookles the Cat, a.k.a. Katie, who is an amazing rock for this entire team. Whether it's Dirty Filth, Klaus, who does our booking. Two new members of our booking team, both Jennifer and Bree, who've been here just a few weeks. Vincent, who does all of our video production and continues to improve it on a nightly basis. We have a lot of really cool people like John Hudson and Billy, or pardon me, Willie, Big Willie. I always want to call him Billy and Willie, but it's Big Willie and Gemma Jade, who are going to be starting a brand new show on Saturday nights on our YouTube channel right after Lynn Wallington that we call the After Hours. I'm very excited about growing the family. I'm excited about good friends of this show, our monthly guests like Science Bob and Merle and Geraldine Orozco, Varla Ventura, Butch Witkowski. You know, just to name a few. R. Keith Andrews, another one, who are here monthly for you guys and for your entertainment. We cannot do it all alone. We have to have a great team, but mostly we have to have a great audience as well to come on in and make things a lot better. We've also made some very good friendships along the way. We really have. I look at this young crew of podcasters that are coming up, like Ben and Joe from UFO Garage. I mean, these two guys are, I think, two of the most underrated and two of the best podcasters that are out there. Not just because they're behind the scenes with everything, but they're smart, they're intelligent, they're funny, they got great facial hair, great hair as well, you know, and I consider these two guys two of my best friends in this entire field. And they brought with us people like Chad Smith, Big Willie, and this has also led to people like Sonny from Paranormal Chop Shop. I want to thank people like Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal, who have let us, you know, take over his song Little Brother Is Watching to be our main theme song, and Women Rule the World for Lynn Wallington, who just, from the time she hits play on that song right till the end, she is as pro and as professional and one of the best of them ever since she took the microphone on Spaced Out Radio. And I could see her. She's in the background too. She's rolling her eyes at me, but I don't care. I'm the boss. I'm allowed to say what I mean, and that's how I feel, Lynn. So you have no choice but to accept that compliment. You know, and for our radio stations out there, before we're going to move on and bring in people, I want to say a big thank you to Chuck Contreras from KZFX in Ridgecrest, California. Chuck, thank you so much for giving us an opportunity on Spaced Out Radio to broadcast to your listeners. It has been absolutely phenomenal, and Chuck also loves this show so much that he also helps us out with our technical side and our syndication side. Led Novin, who is our newest affiliate in the Rattler, and that's in Apache Junction in Arizona. Thank you, Len, for the amazing support that you have, and I know you love the show, and we're definitely going to party in Vegas, Len. I guarantee that. To Jody at Saga 960 AM in Mississauga, Ontario, much love to you and the entire crew that has really welcomed us in to open arms, and we've been able to build a very steady listener base with Saga 960. And being our first Canadian affiliate, being a show from Canada, you mean the absolute world to us over on Saga, and I think of people like Norm and Mark and the other great hosts that you have there, Richard Searett, I mean, you guys are absolutely phenomenal and legends in this field in Canada, so thank you so much for being with us. We go over to WQEE 99 Rock the Key in Noonan, Georgia. Thank you so much, Ryan, for allowing us to broadcast. Ryan O'Neill, one of the best guys who really has turned that radio station around, and I hope we played a small part in that. To Joe Montaldo in New Orleans at 107.7 FM. We appreciate you for the years that you've had Spaced Out Radio on your show as well. And, of course, in Bellingham, Washington, the Makeshift Project, we call it KZAX in the United States. Canada, I'll throw in a Z there. But thank you so much for allowing us to be a part of your day as well. Let's get right to it. We got a bunch of friends here tonight, and we have from UFO Garage, you can't see him, he's invisible. We have Ben and Joe from UFO Garage. There's Science Bob, Lynn Wallington, and Jay King from the Experiencers Project. Guys, everyone, thank you so much for being a part of this very special day. And I want to say a big thank you to all of you for letting me learn and letting me grow and being a part of what we are doing here. So thank you so much. And Lynn, I owe you so much over the last number of months that you've been with us on the show. I mean, you and I first met about 5.5 years ago where I brought you onto a guest. You were working for Dr. Edgar Mitchell's Free Experiencers, and now I think you've turned into one of the best podcasters that are out there. So thank you so much for joining us and being a major, major part of our team.
Oh, thanks for having me on. Thanks for giving me the chance. I've always loved chatting with you, and working with you is even better. So it's really just been a dream come true for me, honestly. It's been such a great time, and we have the best audience in the world. So, they make it easy. They really do.
Absolutely. And Science Bob, how you doing over there? You're in Texas somewhere. Your mic's on mute too, by the way. Or did I mute you? I'll try this.
No, it was me. I'm in Odessa, Texas. I'm driving across country. I have a board meeting in California, so there you go.
Well, we're glad you're here too, because Bob, I got to tell you, as you know, I'm more woo than science, and to be able to have a balance of you here with me to kind of grab your wrenches and torque them a little bit when I go a little bit too woo, man, I'm so glad. I mean, we talk almost every day since I met you in 2020 in San Francisco at UFO Con. I think there's probably a total of maybe 60 days out of those 2.5 years that we have not spoken. Maybe.
I don't believe it's 60 days, and it is a pleasure to talk to you every day. We carry on these really interesting conversations, and we poke and steer and guide each other. It's fun.
And I will say this, Science Bob, it's really great to be able to take someone with your acumen and education and background and all of a sudden teach you the woo of things, man.
That's been fun.
Absolutely. Ben and Joe from UFO Garage, my two younger bros in this entire field. Thank you so much for joining us, man. And Ben, I want to say a big thank you to you, especially for building our brand new website for spacedoutradio.com. And I could never dream that I could have a website that looked like that, man. Honestly, never thought it would happen.
Dude, it's been a pleasure, man. Like I remember when we first started working on it, and there was some apprehensiveness. You were like, "I don't want to give you my email and password." I was like, "But you have to." And there's the journey of just making your brand. I've been a fan of yours, man, since we met. Joe and I met you at UFOCon 2020. I know you already mentioned that. But we met you at Lorien's conference, and we just had such a great vibe when we hit it off. And man, I've been such a huge fan of your show since then. And you've done so much for me. And I know, Joe, you can speak for yourself, but like it was a pleasure just working on your website and truly just kind of bringing it to what it should be, right? Like, I think it's getting there. It's a work in progress. We got some shirts to add, but it's getting there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Joe, thank you for joining us. I'm going to tell you right now, Joe from UFO Garage, Joe Strelski, has the best hair and beard in the UFO business, bar none. Bar none.
I just got it trimmed a little bit, dude.
Oh, yeah,
so it's going to be even better, man. Dude, it's such a pleasure to be on with you tonight, man. This is a huge thing, man. 7 years. That is
7
well
years.
deserved, man. That is awesome. Thank you so much for what you do. I mean, as Ben said, we hit it off at UFO Con, man, and we've been friends ever since, man. And thanks for kind of taking us under your wing and just having that friendship, man. That's what this is all about, man. So we really appreciate that a whole lot.
And thank you guys for the amazing super chat on our YouTube. That I'm getting a little choked up here with all the.
Getting a little choked
Yeah,
up.
and I gotta mention, because I don't know how long Jay King is going to be here, but Jay King here we had him on just a few weeks ago. He's a brand new friend to this show. We're all experiencers of the weird and strange. And Jay, for you to hop on from the experiencers group, man, we really appreciate it. And what you're doing for experiencers to help out there, it's phenomenal, and really appreciate you and everything that you're accomplishing quickly in this field.
Oh, thanks so much, Dave. And it's an honor and a pleasure to be here for your seventh anniversary, and to see an old friend like Bob McGuire and new folks like Lynn and you guys. It's great. Even though I'm out-bearded, I'm like massively out-bearded in this group. I'll stick around. I'll stick around.
And we've just been joined by one of our fan favorites, Nicole Sakich, researcher. And I think she's even put lip gloss on tonight for our YouTube crowd. So we appreciate that.
Happy birthday, Spaced Out Radio.
Well,
hi, everybody.
We're going to do something a little bit different tonight. We really are. Yes, it's your birthday. Yes, it is. Because I ask a lot of questions. So if you guys have any questions about SOR history or whatever, feel free to fire it in, because this is a complete free-for-all night tonight. If you want to know about my experiences, if you want to know about the show, if you want to know anything, panel, go right ahead. And the audience that's in our chat rooms tonight will get to your questions as per usual in hour number 2. So let's just get into it. Guys, I mean, this is so different. Science Bob, you fire away first.
So I never can remember the very special date that everybody in the SOR audience should go back into the archive and look for the night Carl showed up.
Oh, yes.
That's a great one. Yes.
You know what? That happened when we were on our Blog Talk Radio days. And it happened, what was the date? Hold on. My goodness. Why am I drawing a blank?
And the YouTube audience will remember. But, I mean, look, that was so cool. I remember going back and listening and knowing you and knowing how you are, to have an ET show up your window and interrupt your show. And then you could tell something's going on, but, Dave, you are a pro.
Well, at first, and Jay, I don't even know if you know this story. So I was broadcasting a show. We were about 15, 17 minutes in. At my guest that night, we were talking about Buddha of all topics. And my first radio broadcast, I can't even call it a studio. It was a bedroom because there was a bed behind me. And I kind of had my screen in the corner of the bedroom, and my front door outside the wall, that was my front door. And I had a bay window right beside me, about 4 feet away. And for some reason, that was the third night in a row that I forgot to turn my outdoor lights on. And I always had my outdoor lights on. And as I'm broadcasting to Harvey Kraft, my guest, I sit there and I see something move out the window out of the corner of my eye. And all I could think in my head was, great, I have a little Chihuahua dachshund where if there's a crosswind, that's 30 minutes of barking. Imagine when somebody's at the door. That dog just didn't shut up. I miss her. I love her, my little Zero, but her barking would just go nuts. So, and then Doug, my other dog, who was still around, he would follow suit with the little one. So here I'm thinking, I'm going to be blasted with barking tonight. Blasted. And this isn't going to make good radio. Even though it was Blog Talk Radio back then. Horrible, horrible scene. But nonetheless, so I put my microphone on mute. I turn my chair like this. to look out the window, turn my chair to the left, and that's where I see this gray head with big black eyes, almond-shaped eyes, staring at me outside the window. And I jump back and I scream my head off. Now, my guests can't hear me because I'm on mute, but I swear, I sounded like a screaming banshee getting hit with a baseball bat, right? I mean, it was terrible. And I damn near fell off my seat. I jump back up after I catch my breath. Like, this is all in a split second. I jump up to the window because I would have seen where it went. And it was gone. Like that. And I was like, my heart was pounding, and it was racing, and I still got my headphones on, and Harvey finishes his sentence, and I hit unmute, and I'm like, Harvey, we just had something happen in the studio tonight. And I don't know what it was, if there was a shadow or something. I knew what I was looking at, but there comes the skepticism kind of coming in. And it just freaked me right out. And that's how the legend of Carl began. And then afterwards, here's the weird thing. After that show, I contact our Keith Andrews. All right? And I said, Keith, had something weird tonight happen. Literally had an alien gray at my window. And he says, you're surprised? And I'm like, no, shouldn't I be? And he's like, well, Dave, he goes, think about it. The internet signal goes out into space. They're listening. You're talking about all this weird stuff. Of course they're going to pick it up. And then he goes real psychic on me and starts to, because he's never seen my house. He doesn't know where I live in Mission, British Columbia. All right. And he starts telling me, so your house looks like this. And he starts describing my house. And then he goes, your house is on a little bit of a downslope. In between your houses, there's a little downslope. Your houses are only about 15, 20 feet apart, correct? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like looking for him, trying to find him. I can't find him. And he's like, that's where the craft was parked, in between the two properties. And I was like, my God, Jay. My God. Freaked me out, man. The Legend of Carl.
You know, I've actually heard you scream like that, Dave, is when we met George Norrie.
Yes. I don't care what anybody says. I would love to touch George Norrie's mustache. That lip blade is tight. Tight. Wow.
Such an epic story, though, dude. Oh, my gosh. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, you know, it's one of those things, man, where you just... How do you explain it? You don't have time to take a picture. All the proof Nazis are like, where's my proof? Where's my proof? Where's your proof? That didn't happen. Really? Oh, I got the audio of it. Just don't have the video, or, you know, it only happened so quick. Oh, what do you do?
Yeah. The skeptics would say, like, why didn't you get a photo, right? Like, I mean, what was going through your head is not, oh, let me check my phone and click the right app and take a photo. It's impossible.
Right?
Heck no, it's don't kill me.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Dave, did you feel like you were being led? Like, did you need to go outside and like pursue where it was? Or was that like your genuine curiosity?
Oh no, I was crapping bricks that night. I stayed right inside. When you got aliens that close, you just stay inside. You don't know where they are.
There is that part of it, but, you know, then everybody talks about how they would run after them or, you know, try to.
Yeah, Dave, don't you have a story where, like, in the middle of everything going down, like you went and got donuts or something?
Oh, that was round 2 with Carl.
Okay, that's round.
We'll get to round 2 with Carl.
That's in my interview that I did with you. That's on my channel. Round 2 is the donut trip.
Yes. Hey, I'm Canadian. If I'm going on a UFO, if I'm going to be abducted while I'm awake, I'm going with a donut and a Tim Hortons ice cap. I have a level of importance before I get abducted while I'm awake. We have Nicole Sackich, Bob McGuire, Jay King, Ben and Joe from UFO Garage, and Lynn Wallington, our weekend host. It's the 7th anniversary of Spaced Out Radio tonight. We are absolutely loving the fact that we got a great audience here. They're firing questions at me, and we're going to talk all SOR all night long. Why? Well, because it's a celebration to pat everybody involved with SOR, including the audience on the back, for making this show absolutely fun each and every night. We'll be back right after this. All right, we are clear.
Hey, space travelers, this is
Yeah.
John
That was a
Resig,
fast
founder of
30
the Chime.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, what the hell?
Well, you can blame my 28-minute monologue that I had there. Sorry about that.
I'm glad I stirred it up.
Yeah. Right off the bat, just dropping bombs like that, Bob. I can't say anything about Carl. I can't say anything. Oh, just Bob. Hammer us with Carl right off the bat. Just boom.
That was perfect. I love that.
All right. I'm going to whip through the chat room here quickly here, guys. Thank you to gorgeous Lucy Bell, 416 Bitcoin. Thanks for joining us. Sonny from Paranormal Chop Shop, you demand, buddy. Thank you for coming on in. Gorgeous Kira, nice to see you. The lovely Nicole Perrin is here, or pardon me, she's Canadian. Perron is here. We appreciate that. Phil Minervino, good to see you. And I am so behind in the chat room right now. Dirt Road, thank you so much for that lovely super chat. I can guarantee you I am so losing my voice tonight. I can already feel it. Already feel it. All right. Harvey, nice to have you here. Fidgety Aura, good to see you. Irish Lincoln, thanks for coming on in. It's been a while. And then we'll just throw up a little Irish Lincoln there. Josh Casey, nice to have you here. And my goodness, like I am 25 minutes behind in the chat room right now. See if I can race. Gorgeous Jenny, Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio. Make sure you subscribe there. Gary Rusin, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for coming on in. And this is nuts in here so far. We got 149 people watching right now.
All right.
Yeah. Lee Poping, good to see you. Idaho, JR, thanks for coming on in. And if I miss anybody, I apologize. I'm racing through the chat room, but literally my ADD is not going to allow me to not do this. Fapster, 7 years of regret right there. Thank you, buddy. We appreciate you. You dirty bastard, big-headed mofo right there. We love him. We love him. You could land a helicopter on the side of that head, right? And still have room for another 2. God, I love him. Gorgeous Tammy Finnegan, how are you? Oh, hey, Clam. John Music, nice to see you guys. Obi Flett, how you doing? Thanks for coming on in. And Uncle Dale and his Power Stash are here. Remember, if you're in Austin, Texas, and you run into Uncle Dale, rub his Power Stash to get your wish granted by Santa Claus. Must be available and eligible until December 24th at 11:59 p.m. All right, where else do we go here? Let's see here. SJ, nice to see you. And John Hudson, how you doing, buddy? The gorgeous Deanna's Vlogs, thank you for coming on in. Spookles the Cat, good to see you. Grandmaster, a.k.a. The Gong Show. Gotta love him. Gotta love him. Gorgeous Nikki in Seattle, how are you? Where are we on there? My God, where am I not here? Body Tech, good morning to you. And let's see, I'm at 9:12 p.m. Pacific right now, so I'm only 20 minutes behind now. Let's see here. Yeah, I told you I'm going to lose my voice tonight.
I want to sing the Mr. Cowley
Oh, I know.
Mr.
Cowley.
There's Merle, everybody. Merle. Gorgeous Pam McSee.
All day long today.
Miss
I was cooking and
Cowley.
it kept floating in.
Jojo Bone, welcome to our chat room.
Jojo.
T-Rex Pam Smith, how are you? Welcome. Missing Persons Mysteries. That's Steve Stockton right there, everybody. The Steve Stockton. Hey, Ben, that's one we want. Remember our conversation earlier today? That's one we want.
Hell
TD,
yeah,
good to see
man.
you. Jerry O'Brien, thanks for coming in. No Justice, No Peace. Welcome to our chat room tonight. Oh, my God, they're all rating. Vash the Impaler, one of the best names. Aunt Edna, welcome to our channel. The gorgeous Lynn Sows. Hannah Lynn, welcome. Another stock tonight. Geez, Steve Stockton. I love you, man. Gorgeous Gloria, how are you? Stunning Jeanette, thanks for coming on in. And Mennonite Abe, I think I said you already. Nate Foot, good to have you here. We're running out of time. Dragon ZW. And where am I? I'm only like 15 minutes behind now. National Memorial, good to see you. Julius Caesar, Earthbound Nomad, good to have you here. Too much information. Thank you, Dave Effin Hurley, for that super chat. That's real manly of you. That's why I have a special place in my heart for you, Dave Hurley. Special, special place in my heart. All right. Too bad he's engaged. Oh, there's Lynn Wallington. She's like, damn right she's engaged, you stupid Canadian.
Well, what a lucky guy.
I know. Yeah. All right. We got just a few seconds left here. Be kind. Nice to see you. Cable Guy Matt. Yeah, you can get your free piece of autographed coaxial cable, courtesy of Cable Guy Matt. Remember, children, you cannot buy these in stores. Here we go. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us on this anniversary edition of the mighty SOR. I want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Hey, it's our anniversary show. We are 7 years old today. We're going to go probably for about another 7 more, and then I'm going to, I don't know, probably go 7 more after that because I got nothing better to do. Tonight, we got a great panel. There's going to be people coming in and out all night long. Right now, we have Ben and Joe from UFO Garage, Jay King from the Experiencers Group, the gorgeous Nicole Sackage, researcher extraordinary, but man, could she make a good taco in the kitchen. Science Bob McGuire, and the lovely Lynn Wallington from our weekend show, who's literally the best weekend show ever in the paranormal. Welcome, everyone. And we're talking about stories. It's just story time all night long. And I'm going to open it up to you guys. Anybody want to jump on in here? You know, like, what's your favorite memory of SOR? Let's start with you, Lynn Wallington. Now that you've been a part of the show, you've been a guest, you're now a host. How about you?
Well, my favorite memory is actually a young Davy Scott emailing me 6 years ago, I think it was. Or no, you were messaged me, I think, on Facebook and telling me about a new show that you had, and you were asking me to come on as a guest. And I was like, who is this young fella? So that was the start of it. That was the beginning of the magic.
It was magical. Totally.
It's just so great to see, like, to be on the show at that point and just kind of see where it's like what it's become. It's amazing. You've done a great job, Dave. You should be very proud of yourself.
You know what? I am. And you know, little did I know that a number of years later, we kind of didn't talk for a few years. But we were always Facebook friends. And then all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? I liked that Lynn Wallington. You know, we got to bring her on again. And so we did. Yeah. And this is where I found out that you were a witch. A witch.
I know.
And I got all spooky and scared and goosebumps. And then I learned about this dude named Dave Hurley, who is just, you know, he's my man.
Changed your life.
I am publicly acknowledging I have a man crush on Dave Hurley. I do.
Very true.
There, if you listen, there he is in the background laughing, right? So nonetheless, I love you guys. And Lynn, if you haven't heard the weekend show with Lynn, it's amazing, and just go to our YouTube channel. We're going to be expanding her onto the podcast format very, very soon, as well. So that way she'll be able to be downloaded and everything. So really cool. How about you, Jay King? You're relatively new to the scene. You really took off a few months ago when Ralph Blumenthal wrote this incredible article about experiencers, and you'd kind of been in the silent area with this, debating whether or not you wanted to come on in, and then you came after that interview. You're getting hammered with interview requests. We get you on the show and have one heck of a great interview, and we compliment you on your beard because it is nice and tight, little bit of speckled gray in there, which is perfect, but the one thing I love about experiencers, man, is and if you're hearing this for the first time, I'm an experiencer, Jay's an experiencer, members of our team are experiencers, but we all have something in common that we all kind of want to help each other. We're not trying to step on each other's toes, get bigger or better than the next person. I really felt connected to you, man.
Hey, thanks. And I felt the same way about you. It's a big, wild, weird reality that we're in, right? And we're kind of all in it together, aren't we? So, and for me, I think my favorite spaced out radio memory that doesn't involve me directly was maybe, I think last year you had, back when Bob and I were both doing work for Richard Dolan, and you had Richard on with Tim McMillan, I think it was. Maybe it was right after that Transmedium Craft story broke on the debrief. I think it was that one. And boy, I was like really jazzed about that article. And I remember I was talking to Bob about it, and we were talking to Richard about it, and we were just like, and I remember staying up until 1 billion o'clock in the morning. That show ran really long. You magically were able to, you were only supposed to have Richard for like 45 minutes or an hour, and you magically were able to kind of keep him on for something like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, using, flattery, maybe some Tim Hortons coffee. I don't know what else was in the mix. Yeah. But that was a really great, psyched memory of spaced out radio that's definitely stuck with me.
Right on. And we appreciate that, man. And anytime you want to come on the air and hang out with us and talk about experiences, you always have an open channel to us, my friend. Thank you, Jay. Dan Warren.
Thank you very much.
The guru of TikTok, Dan Warren, is here. And if you haven't signed up for his TikTok, I'm telling you, we busted 72 followers tonight on TikTok, Dan. Nothing like your 65.
It's a good start.
Nothing like your 60. Yeah, I'm 65,000.
All right, it's 69.1 as of this afternoon.
Hell yeah,
I'm Dan Warren of TikTok. Who the hell are you? Kind of guy, right? That's exactly it. Dan, you're one. I'm going to tell you right now, you are one of the bright faces of the UFO world, and you've taken TikTok by storm, and the news you're producing, and the fact that not only to go along with that, but honestly, I think you're one of the real good guys in this field. You don't have an agenda. You don't have anybody who you're trying to pad. You just want to get the information out there. And the way you're doing it, man, all respect to you. And I kind of, every day, man, I look at TikTok because I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. But every day I look at TikTok and I think, what would Dan Warren do at this point? Or this position?
By followers. That's what I normally do to get a good rolling start on the list. It definitely helps when you start paying them. The numbers go up pretty quickly after the word gets out.
That's a deep cut.
That was a huge.
That's hilarious.
We haven't had any accusations of that over here, have we, Lynn?
No, not at all.
No,
not at all.
What stupid SOB would make that accusation?
I don't know. But hey, you know what, Dan? Honestly, I love you, man, and thank you for keeping your phone lines open for us. Even though I haven't called you yet, but the fact that you're like, yeah, man, I'll take your call on TikTok. Just don't surpass me, kind of thing. I know how it goes. You can't beat the best.
I went into it completely on my own. Like I don't know, I didn't know another adult that had TikTok on their phone when I started my channel. But I found out Ben was on there shortly after I signed up. He was already on there. But yeah, I'm glad to help out. John has called me a few times and actually chatted with me about his channel as well. So I'm hoping you guys will become more of a presence on there. And it's super easy, man. It's just you could make commercials for your radio shows every day and just help drive actual listeners to it. It's easy.
Well, it's easy for you, buddy.
You gotta learn the dances though, Dave. So
yeah.
Start with those and then work your way downhill.
I saw the one with you and your kids, man. That was fantastic.
They're kind of still in the spotlight from me. I had to cut them off. I don't want. I waited 42 years before I got on the internet in front of a camera, so I can't have them bogarting.
Understandable.
still,
you know what's funny is I actually read an article today where like the 25 and under crowd is starting to get really upset with the elderly TikTokers of the 40 and up crowd now, and it's making TikTok extremely passé now that the old timers and the dinosaurs are starting to take over.
Name one social media platform that doesn't suffer that same fate. It's just a way of life.
Very true.
yeah.
I had to move my walker to get on the couch here tonight. So, yeah.
My space for life.
And I used to have a full head of hair and beard.
There's a filter for that on TikTok, and you can have luscious locks in no time. Like Dave Scott.
Hey,
I'm talking Dave Scott style locks, dude.
Bob, back when you had that hair and a beard, were you sitting on a submarine somewhere out in the ocean, possibly?
I was indeed. I think somebody even depth charged me.
Maybe. Oh no.
Yep.
Such an amazing life. So that's my question real quick, if I can slide it in. Bob, that's what you slid in on Dave's question of the day. You said it was a moment when you guys met at UFO
on 2020.
Tell me about that meeting.
Go ahead, Bob.
I came out with I helped Chris Bledsoe write his talk for UFOCon 2020. Basically, I assembled it with Lori Wagner. And so I came out to help Chris get over his jitters. And Dave walks up to me and introduces himself. And, man, it's been 2.5 years of talking to each other every day, except for only a handful of days ever since. We had a great time.
Well, the interesting part about it was I didn't know who Bob McGuire was. And then in November, I get this really weird tweet from this listener that says, "Damn you, Dave Scott, for keeping me up 3 hours past my bedtime each and every night." And I'm like, who's this Bob McGuire guy? Okay, seems a little woo for me. Didn't know who he was or his background or his resume or his alphabet stocks that he had, right? And we kind of chit-chatted from there, and he said he was coming to UFOCon 2020 that Lori and Fenton was putting on in San Francisco. And literally this event happened about 9 days before the entire North America shut down to COVID. And I'm pretty sure there was COVID cases in there, including Lorian at that time. But
she gave it to a bunch of people that went.
I never got it, and I hugged her. I hugged her 3 times, and I never got it. But, you know, it's a Canadian stuff right there. But, but right before that, this is a spooky story. I have a friend of mine in Texas named Jamie who has a very good source within the military. And about 3 weeks before this, he calls me up. Jamie never calls me. He always Facebook messages me, but he called me this day. So I was like, oh, God, like, what's up? Did I piss him off or something? And he goes, I have a question to ask you. And I said, what's that? And he goes, are you NRO for the National Reconnaissance Organization? And I'm like, no, I'm Canadian. I didn't even know what the NRO was. So here he is, his military friend, who's been a friend of the family for a long time, called him up one day and asked him earlier the day before are you NRO, Jamie? And because of the information that he had. And he's like, no, why would I do that? I'm totally not. And long story short, she goes, well, what about that Canadian friend of yours who has that radio show that you used to go on where their slogan is "We Own the Night"? So Jamie mentions our "We Own the Night" slogan to me. And I'm like, NRO, We Own the Night? Google, and by God, there it is. The NRO patch, military patch, that literally says "We Own the Night" on it. And I'm freaking out. So I hadn't met Bob yet, and Bob mentions that he used to be part of the National Reconnaissance Organization back in the day. So I said, Bob, help me out here. Am I being tracked by the NRO? Because right before that, Jamie said, have you got any weird phone calls or emails recently? And I'm like, no. 5 days later, I get this really strange email from a guy who I've never heard from since, from the United Kingdom, who is, and this is where it gets really woo, who literally starts going off on this video game stuff, and he says, are you surprised that you haven't been sued yet by the NRO or the United States Air Force for the F-117 squadron by using the theme "We Own the Night"? And now I'm like shaking. So a couple weeks later, I meet Bob, and Bob and I are having this great conversation. I take him outside, and I'm like, Bob, what do I do here? You just told me you're former NRO. I'm freaking out here because I'm just some stupid Canadian guy, and he makes a phone call. Not in front of me, but he goes and makes a phone call. Like 2 hours later, he comes back. He goes, they're not checking you out. You're good. And it was like this world of weight came off my shoulders.
But you got to remember, after we were friends for 45 days, I called you up, and what do I say, Dave? Tell that story.
Okay, so here it is with Bob McGuire. So we've been talking literally every day for about 45 days, and Bob calls me up, and he's like, we have to have a chat. And same thing, now I'm freaking out, like, what did I do wrong now? What did I say? And he goes, you know who I work for? And I said, yeah. He goes, well, I got the phone call. I'm like, what phone call? Because, stupid Canadian guy. And Bob goes, well, the people who run the Men in Black gave me a call and said, what are you talking to a foreign national for on a daily basis? And so he's like, Dave, this goes with the job, because Bob wasn't retired then. He was still part of the alphabet agencies. And he goes, you have a choice here. He goes, I'm going to leave it up to you. I want to remain friends. I want to remain, real close with you. I really like you. He goes, but if you want to remain friends with me, I need your name, address, phone number, date of birth. Because my people above me are asking who this foreign national is I'm talking about. So somewhere in the Pentagon, there is now a one-page dossier of this Canadian dude named Dave Scott who talks aliens on this Spaced Out radio show. It's one of the proudest moments of my life, man.
And the only thing Dave wanted was to be able to tell that story to anybody he wanted.
That's all I wanted.
I was going to say that half of the dossier is going to be about his Taco Bell order. Like, wait, what do you have? And
Yeah.
Baja Blast. What? No.
I had one. They they have brought Baja Blast up to Canada. I went to Taco Bell 2 weeks ago. I actually FaceTimed Lynn Wallington right before her show.
Yeah, he called me, look where I am.
Yeah. And so she goes, you got to get it. So I get it. I take a sip. I'm like, oh, this is terrible. This is terrible.
It'll grow on you. I was like, it'll grow on you. Take another sip.
I take another sip of the Baja Blast, and I'm like, okay, this isn't bad. Third sip, I'm hooked. I am hooked right there. Yeah.
You know what it tastes like? It tastes like Christmas, like the excitement of Christmas, like as a child, and also a little bit of hope,
It is
That's what Taco Bell brings to the people. Hope.
Yes.
And joy.
Yet one more person hooked to high fructose corn syrup.
Yes.
That's okay.
Excellent.
All right. Dan, what do you think of all this UFO news that's coming through these days, man? I mean, I want to ask all of you while we're here. We only got about 5 minutes until we go to break at the top of the hour. But I want to ask all of you right off the bat, man, because I think we are in for an unprecedented moment right now in the UFO world. And that is, I think we are starting to see the battle between the military-industrial complex versus the elected officials. And they're about to go to war here because one wants the information, the other one wants to withhold the information. And this is classic military-industrial complex. Dan, what do you think's going on here, man?
You pretty much nailed it. Like the way that I look at this is we have elected officials that are finally starting to get interested in this topic in a serious manner. And they're, based on the wording in the amendments that we've seen, they've been listening, they've been paying attention to what some of the influential people in this community have been saying. So it's obvious they're paying attention. It's obvious that they want to start getting to the truth. And it's obvious that the Department of Defense doesn't want them to do it on their own. They want to have control of the reins. And that's what I think this latest I can't even remember what the acronym is. So I just say the DOD UFO office that they're proposing. Like, that is just the most watered down. Let's just keep sweeping this under the rug. Let us do it. Don't worry, guys. We got everything under control. That's exactly what I see happening. And it's such an amazing time to be alive, to be witnessing this play out. And let's face it, there's only a few thousand of us that are into this subject enough to where we're drooling over the keyboard as we're watching this news trickle out to us. It's just such an amazing time to be interested in a topic like this. That's going to have reverberations throughout time. It's crazy. So I'm glad to be on the ride with you guys. That's my thoughts on what's going on.
We're going to do
all our
show
listeners.
this.
All our listeners should call the Congress critters if they're in America and tell them to support the Senator Gillibrand amendment to the National Defense Authorization Act, because it blows the doors open. That amendment does, including, in my opinion, Roswell will come clean.
Well, I think we are starting to see the military, Jay, try and put some nails in that UFO Pandora's box there, man.
Yeah, I agree. And along the lines of, if you live in the United States, and you should probably call your congressperson. However, the wonderful Canadians out there, since you can't call Congress, feel free to just call the Pentagon repeatedly and jam up their phone lines. Just keep that rolling in. I think, I think that it's amazing to see such bipartisanship on anything these days. These last couple of years, and to really have that with this issue really speaks to what the importance of the issue overall. The fact that you can get Gillibrand and Rubio to agree on anything, the fact that you could get Lindsey Graham to sign on to that as well. Earlier this year, I wouldn't have. I thought that it was kind of a minor miracle that they would even stay in the same room together, much less this. And so having this happen is absolutely incredible. And I think that there will be a trickle down effect. I mean, the more that those news pieces come out, the more that, just in the last few months, the more that I have relatives sending stuff from Apple News about the new amendments and things like this, and the twists and turns of that, and seeing that from just random folks, where this was something taboo a few years ago, where that was the thing that you didn't talk to Jay about at Thanksgiving, and now it is the thing you talk about. You know what I mean? That's pretty amazing. It's a huge turn, and even just from 2017 to this is absolutely incredible. When to imagine, just 4 years ago, if we got 2 good UFO articles in the newspaper in a year, that was like a banner year. That was what 2017 literally was, and now it's to the point of almost being mundane. You know what I mean? You can hardly keep up with the amount that are there. So I'm psyched, and I think the next year is going to be incredible. I think there's going to be we know about some new documentaries, we know about some new series, we know about some new pieces that some major news channels are working on right now. That'll be coming out in the next year, and I think people will be really happily surprised with how deeply invested some news producers are in this topic.
Right on. And gentlemen, I'm going to get you all to hold on. Joe, I promise you will talk in the next half hour. I promise, because we need that sexy voice of yours. Totally need it. And Nicole as well. And, of course, Ben from UFO Garage as well. I'm telling you, we're having one fun roundtable tonight with a bunch of friends here celebrating the 7th anniversary of Spaced Out Radio. We launched this show on November 30th, 2014. And where it's taken us, I'm still amazed. Where it's going to go, I have no clue. But we got some cool stories and maybe an appearance from El Ovni Volador when we return on Spaced Out Radio. All right, we're clear.
All right, we're clear.
All right, two things.
Get your
When did
horns up
Nicole
with
and
me
I
on
become
Spaced Out
gentlemen?
Radio. This is Ron Gumble for
You
Call.
know, I mean, I look at it
Good.
like if you're on a ship, you
Just
still refer to a
that
lady
idiot.
as
What a
word,
terrible
so-
host. What a terrible
Dude, I'll
host.
take
Don't
guys,
give him
I'll
an
take the
inch.
gentlemen.
Don't give it a
Sorry.
Oh my goodness! Hey, I got to get up in 6 hours.
All right, Science Bob.
Love
Yep.
you guys.
Love you guys.
See you later, Bob.
See you,
Take
Bob.
care.
All right.
Yeah,
I
I
gotta
got to get up
Dave-
in 5.5 hours, dude. So I'm about to head out.
But you were going to talk in the next half hour.
I know, man. I'm so sorry, but dude, this has been awesome.
That's okay.
Congratulations.
That's
Stop
okay.
right now.
Dude.
You get the whole break.
All right. Joe, you're amazing, buddy, and I love you. And you know what? I can't wait to drink some vino with you soon, bud.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, man. Hey, have a good
Take
rest
care,
of your night,
buddy.
all right, brother?
Much
Take it
love.
easy.
Thank you.
Much
Bye,
love.
everybody.
Hey, Dave, I have a surprise guest coming on too at some point.
Is
for
it
you,
Dave Hurley?
but it is not. He's sleeping. He's got to work.
I'm gonna tell you, you guys, a quick story. Merle is here, everyone. Merle, there he is.
Good day. Good evening.
Yes, Merle's a TikToker too.
What's up, dude?
Yeah. Yeah, Merle is literally one of my best friends away from this show, and Jay King is here, Merle. I'll get rid of the message so that way you can see everybody. Dan at Hey Look over there. Dan is one of the best, probably the top TikTok UFO person. Nicole Sackage is that wooden chair right there. That's
I saw her fall off it when I was watching.
yeah. That's Super Ben from UFO Garage. Ben, I'm going to remove my logo here so we don't cut off your face.
Dude, no worries. I was going to say, man, I'm on dad duty for like the next 2.5 hours, so I do have to go, but I will be listening.
Okay.
Yeah, just giving my wife a couple hours of sleep, you know.
Yeah, that
newborn
works.
and all.
How is the little one? Give us an update on the little one.
Oh, dude, she's beautiful. She started smiling and like was smiling and not yet laughing, but like she's trying to laugh. It's like the cutest thing I've ever seen. I'm so proud. Man, it's changed my life. I freaking love it. My night owl tendencies have paid off because now like we trade off, my wife and I. So like late night, take care of a little baby, and then
That's okay.
Yeah,
That's a good role, man.
yeah.
Strong
That's a
role.
good role.
They hold all the answers, you know. They're like straight from the multiverse. So just stare at them and try to like
Yeah.
soak it in.
You know what? You got to look your daughter right in the
read my
eyes.
mind.
You got to look your daughter right in her eyes and say, "Who are you?"
Dude, I swear, like that's all that I'm thinking about is like, you know, everything I'm questioning right now.
Dude.
You're smarter than me. You're cute and you're small and you're smarter than me. Love that. But hey, boys, Dave, bro, I gotta say this, dude. Like your show is so important to me, man. It has changed my life. You have been there when I needed you. This community has been there when I needed you. And man, I can never repay the time, the hours, and the friendship and the awesomeness that you've brought to my life. And dude, I just hope to another 7 and another 21 years. So
Yeah, dude, we're doing it, and we'll talk tomorrow, buddy. We'll talk
okay.
tomorrow.
All right, guys.
All
All
right.
right, peace.
Hey,
Dan,
see
see
you
you on
later.
Saturday, dude.
I'll be there.
over on Spreaker, we want to say hi to Ronnie Lindsay. Everett Themer is here. Holy cow! The man, the myth, and the hair legend from the 80s rock show right there. Little Ronnie Moniak, otherwise known as the Ukrainian Watermelon in Saskatchewan. Ron, wave for everybody. We'll see you, and we'll all wave back. Kat, the gorgeous Kit, the Deer Whisperer, thanks for coming on in. Over in YouTube, we have Thomas Rock, the gorgeous Avi May, Justin S., Thin Lizzie Borden, looking beautiful tonight. Who else do we have? Mennonite Abe, thank you for adding to the super chats. You guys are just way, way too nice tonight, man. Way too nice. And thank you so much for just a wonderful, wonderful night. Game Vet, nice to see you. I'm trying to get this in here. And we got Millennium, my man. How are you? Good to see you. Where am I here? I am half an hour back again. Marvin Dale, nice to have you here. Big J, thanks for coming on in. And I'm way behind Jason. Thank you so much for the love with the super chat. Really do appreciate that. Thank you so much, buddy. And let's see, who else do we have here? The Michael Leger, the creator of this beautifully carved gnome. The Michael Leger with my SOR radio gnome right there. What a present. Awesome. What a present. I love that gnome, man. Love that gnome. Stays with me in the studio, protects this stuff, making sure all the bad stuff. Human Carl is back, everyone. Finally, after a number of months absence, Human Carl is here. This excites me. Wow.
Hi, Human Carl.
Manager Station, how you doing? And thank you for joining us in our chat room. Human Carl. Wow, this is a good night now that Human Carl's back. That just makes me
met him in Laughlin.
I know you were bragging about that.
Well, that was like the first time I've ever met anybody from like YouTube or like, you know what I mean, in person. It's like I knew him in a chat and he was like, I know you. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be weird. And then it was awesome.
I know. So. You know, Human, quickly here, we got to get going here because we're coming back for a break. But Human Carl, I got to tell you, man, when Nicole immediately called me afterwards, it was so excited that we met Human Carl. I was jealous. I was very, very jealous. Hold on, everybody. We're going to kick off hour 2 right now.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio's anniversary show is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Ranunculatius. I don't know what this is. I'm not saying it again, but the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on with our good show tonight. It's our anniversary show. 7 years ago tonight, we launched, and we've been going ever since, and we're going to continue the run right now. I want to make a comment from Joe here. Joe in the chat room, we always say oob to Joe's main. Oob backwards is boo. Anyways, he says, been with you, Dave, since you had 20 listeners on Blog Talk Radio. Loved it when you told me to take a picture at my 330 position, and we saw big glowing eyes. So Joe, when he came in, he was rough, gruff, and he was kind of cheap shotty at me during the start when he first started listening to the show, and I was like scratching my head, and I had this epiphany one day. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to show him, like God's give me a sign or something. So finally, he's like, oh, this Dave guy, he's experienced everything. And I'm like, and in the chat room, I type in Joe, because what Joe does is he lives in this very rural area of Eastern California by the Nevada border. And he sits in his garage has a cigarette and a beer, and he literally listens to the show all night. And he was rough and gruff, dropping elbows on me. I think he even hit me with a steel chair through the radio one day. And I said, finally, I'm going to get him tonight. And so it popped into my head. I said, Joe, you're sitting outside. If you're facing high noon on the clock right now, I want you to go to 3:30 and take a picture. Just for no reason, 3:30 and take a picture. He takes a picture and he posts it in our chat room at 3:30, where I think he has a garden there or a building. There are 3 sets of glowing red eyes staring at him at 2 of them were about 8-9 feet high, and one was down below the ground at about 3-4 feet high, staring at him. And he has been a fan every show since. And I don't know what made me tell him to go to 3:30 and take a photo, but he did, and I'm glad he did. And he's got the best hair in the business for our listeners. It's literally down to his butt, and I'm jealous of it. But yeah, Merle is here, everyone, from Paranormal Road Trippers and Ghosts of the Great White North. Merle, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great, Dave. Happy anniversary.
Thank you. Okay.
We did it. We did our awkward pause. That's what I was going for right there.
Thank you, bud. I appreciate that. Merle, I'm glad that you're with us. You really, and for our listeners, I'm very much, as you know, not into the paranormal. I'm more a cryptid guy. I'm more a UFO guy. I don't like a lot of people in the paranormal, but Merle, you're one of the special people out there. I don't care who's listening or what anybody thinks. I literally strongly believe you're probably one of the top 5 investigators in all of Canada when it comes to the paranormal, and we're glad to have you on once a month on this show, buddy.
I love it. Thank you. I've been doing this for 6 years with you now. 2015 we started.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah,
it's a long time.
All right. Yeah, that's long enough. You're fired now. So we'll talk to you later, Merle. You've already broken your word quota for the half hour.
And our awkward silence quota.
Yes. No kidding, but thank you. I mean, you're surrounded by a bunch of UFO people here, Merle. You feeling a little uncomfortable?
No, I just wanted to up the Canadian content. You needed it. So I'm here. I'm here to support. It entertained me on UFOs. I'm still starting to learn. Dave and I always have off-air, would you call it debating or trolling each other on UFOs and ghosts?
Merle, why don't you tell the time where Mr. I Don't Believe in UFOs is out in some rural area of the beautiful state of Oregon, about to go on a ghost tour, and what happens in the sky, Merle?
It was a plane. It was just a plane above me, not moving, in a triangle. No, I'm kidding. We were just about to investigate a place called the Wolf Creek Inn in Oregon. And we were setting up all of our gear and just taking some photos outside before we were going to go in. And my girlfriend, she looks up and she goes, "What is that?" And we see like a giant black triangle hovering above us. We couldn't hear anything. Nothing. It was literally like hanging above us. And there were, I think it was kind of green lights going on it. And then it went a little lower. And then I have a video of it somewhere like on my computer because I just popped my iPhone up and started recording. And then disappeared. So I guess technically I'd be a UFO experiencer. There, I admitted it on your show. I'm a UFO experiencer.
Nice, Merle.
All right.
He's one of us.
One of us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Book 2, Triangle Book 2. It's like the stories just keep coming. It's like, do it.
Yeah. Hey, Dave, your surprise guest is coming on soon. Just FYI.
Oh, I'm excited.
Keep your eye out.
I'm excited.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yes.
Samantha Mowat is here.
Fireplace. I'm so jealous. Fireplace.
Samantha is one of my favorite people in the world. And Jay King, she is somebody that you need to have a chat with. So for people who don't know, I had no idea who Samantha Mowat was until April 15th, 2014, when I met her. And 25 minutes later, this beautiful redheaded UFO alien contactee walks me into a forest and introduces me at 2 o'clock in the afternoon to aliens 200 feet away staring back at us.
Dave, you make it sound like I'm gonna like abduct you or probe you or something.
Well, to each their own, right?
It's awesome.
I think if abduction is occurring, there has to be some resistance associated with it. I think he's more willing, so I don't think that classifies as abduction.
No.
Well, I think the rest of the story is great too, Dave. So continue. I think they need to hear what happened next.
Well, okay, so I have to go back a few weeks because, and Dan and Jay, you're not really familiar with this, but this is what happened. About mid-March, I don't know whether I was taken or I was given a very vivid dream where I was put in a bright white room. I couldn't see any walls or a ceiling. There was no chairs. There was no nothing. But I knew they were all there. And I hear this male voice come across, a very deep voice, and it's kind of emanating all around that says, Dave, we don't want you investigating any of this anymore. We don't want you watching television shows. We don't want you watching documentaries. Stay away from paranormal groups, chat forums, and everything. However, we give you permission to watch YouTube videos. And I'm scratching my head. I was like, YouTube videos? So that sounds weird. Like, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on with me. And the voice says, you'll be able to tell what is real and what is fake. Next thing I know, I wake up. So on April 10th of 2014, I am driving home from work, and we used to hang out at this place called The Farm. And the farm was there was only 2 houses on the street, and they were horseshoed by a large forest in Mission, British Columbia. And our friends had 10 acres. Their elderly neighbors, who were in their late 60s, had 6.5 acres with this big barn way in the back. And as I'm going to the house, I get hit with a migraine. Complete migraine. And I think Nicole left because she gets so giddy and antsy when Samantha's around. You know, that's her UFO crush right there. No, not going to lie. Aww. But anyways, moving on. So anyways, I start getting this really bad migraine. I go inside, and my partner says, "Are you okay?" I said, "I got a migraine going on. I can't handle this." And I sat down on the couch. She's like, "Do you want to go home?" I said, "No, you just got here. I just got here. We're hanging out for about an hour. I'll fight through it." And so all of a sudden, about half an hour later, the pain subsides, and I realized that it wasn't pain, that it was actually shapes in my head. Started off as a square in the front, moved to the right side of my head as a triangle, and moved to the left side of my head as a circle. And then I got hit with this anxiety attack that I needed to go outside. So I look at my partner, I'm like, I got to go outside right now. There's something out there. And she's like, what's going on? And I'm like, there's something out there. She goes, well, I'm going to come too. And I'm like, no, you got to stay in with our boy, because our boy was still a baby. Like, he was only like 8 months old. And then the lady of the house says to her hubby, Dave's picking up something, and we got to go outside right now. And I'm like, you can't. By the way, Sam, you blow out Nicole's Wi-Fi the minute you join.
My bad.
She's trying to get it back, and she'll join here momentarily. So anyways, Jay and Dan and audience, I said, no, he's not invited. So the lady in the house, like, why would I tell someone they're not invited to go walk into their backyard? Kind of strange. So the lady of the house and I go back, and they got this old, about 50 feet behind the house, they have this old horse fence. And we stopped there, and I said, out of God's peace, love, and light, you called me outside. Can you show me where you are? And from the neighbor's back field, about 150 yards away from us, a good par 3, 7-iron, would land you on the green right where this UFO was. The entire ground lit up in the brightest white light I've ever seen, man. Like, there was a UFO on the ground. And this thing just turned on its lights on my command. And 30 seconds later, turns the lights off. I'm like crapping bricks at this point. Crapping bricks. And The lady says to me, try it again, see if they'll turn them on. I said, if you are of alien descent out of God's peace, love, and light, will you turn your lights back on? Bang. Lights come back on again. They're wider through the trees and brighter, and I'm trying to, there's all these shrubs and trees in between the properties, and I'm trying to get a light because excuse me, I am not walking up there. That's aliens. There's some aliens there. I'm not going over there. And so I see this blue cylinder standing vertically, and all the white light is coming out from underneath it. And there's this black cloud that's rotating counterclockwise up to about halfway up this tube and then all the way back down. Now, the trees in between the yards were probably 60, 70 feet tall. And this cylinder was at least half of that, if not a little shorter. So that's how I'm able to base the size of this thing. The lights go on. The lady says to me, I'm going over there. I said, you're not going over there. And she's like, I am so. I said, you are not. She goes, why not? I said, because suspect number 1. Okay? I'm suspect number 1 if that thing takes you. I saw a fire in the sky. I saw what happened to that dude. All right? I'm not walking back into that house alone if this thing takes you. So she stayed there with me, and she goes, well, see if they'll turn the lights on one more time. So we do. The lights come back on, and at the end, they start flashing. Like they're turning the lights off and on, off and on, off and on, 9, 10 times before it disappeared. No sound, no nothing. Event was over. Craziest thing. So I don't sleep for 5 days. And on the 4th day, my partner gets a call from the lady of the house who says, I met this beautiful young redhead. I'm not going to say her age, and she is very young, but she's been dealing with ET contacts, and she's coming over for tea tomorrow. And my partner says, well, great, Dave is off that day. Let's all meet up, and let's meet her and all this. And I'm freaking out. This is the first time I went back to the farm. And it's like 1:30, we meet. Hi, this is Samantha. Hi, I'm Dave. And there's a partner and shaking hands, and the girls are drinking tea, and here's Dave pacing back and forth. Samantha looks at me, and she goes, you okay? Just blunt. I don't know her. I said, no, I want to go outside. I said, no. She goes, you want to go outside, don't you? And I said, yeah, let's go. She goes, you mind if I come? I said, sure. So we walk into the back field. I'm showing her where the UFO was because it's a beautiful spring day and warm, and there's 4 dogs running around us. And then after about 15 minutes, and Samantha's picking up the craft, she goes, you want to go in the forest? What the hell? After what I just saw the other day, why not? She goes, you know we're probably going to see something, don't you? And I went, yeah, I know. Because I knew. I knew right there. And then she goes, and then she kind of, does this. Samantha gets this really cute, perplexed look on her face when she gets serious. And I love that about you, Samantha. I do. Because I know things are going to happen right at that moment. And she goes, but from what I know, aliens don't like dogs. So we try and shoo the dogs back to the house. That doesn't work. The dogs see us walking towards the forest. They all run ahead of us. All 4 dogs run into the forest. Samantha and I cross into the forest. The dogs are running around playing. We could see them. We get about 50 yards in. Samantha stops, starts looking around with that perplexed, cute look on her face again. She goes, Dave, where's the dogs? All 4 dogs are gone. And like stupid people in a horror movie, we keep going. Because that's what we do. We walk another 50 yards in. The dogs have already disappeared. Don't know where they went. And Samantha jumps up on this stump because she's tiny. She's like 5'2". 5'2"? Yeah, 5'2". So she jumps on this stump and she gets that perplexed look on her face. Do you think I would have picked up on that by now? And the answer is no, at that time I didn't. And she kind of taps me and she goes, Dave, I want you to look that way. And she points north. She goes, I want you to tell me what you see. So I take a deep breath. It's 2:00 in the afternoon. I turn and I look. Samantha, what the heck is that? Samantha, what the heck is that? What the heck is that, Samantha? Samantha, what the heck is that? Samantha, what the heck is that? Because 200 feet away, staring back at us, is a 10 to 12 foot extraterrestrial that's tan in color, staring right back at us, and old Davy cannot figure out and believe what is happening at this moment in life. And I'm 40 years old at this point, and I'm thinking, this can't be real, man. yet it is. I'm here. And then, Samantha, I'll let you take it from here.
Dave, I want to go hug them. You were terrified.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's not a big deal. I mean, most people are freaked out when they encounter ETs. That's completely normal and completely rational. It's a sign of intelligence, if you ask me. So never feel bad about that. You are being protective. You're being considerate. I wanted to walk over. You kind of touched my arm, and you kind of gave me that energetic, don't leave, they're going to kill me, or I'll kill you if you try to leave me type thing. It was pretty entertaining.
It was a little nuts. And then Samantha starts telepathically communicating with the one. And the one says to her, and this is what screwed me up, because I saw fire in the sky. I saw what happened to Travis Walton. And this being says through Samantha, you're more than welcome to come over and say hello. We're not here to harm you. We're not here to take you. But we are concerned for the man's health.
In all due fairness, Dave, your heart was beating pretty erratically.
Yes.
And they were worried you're going to take a heart attack if I walked over there and left you there. Or worse yet, if they had walked over towards us, you probably would have fawned, so you would have frozen and freaked out, not meaning to, mind you, completely rationally, completely intelligently. And you probably would have had a cardiac arrest. So I can understand where they're coming from with their concern towards you.
Would have
It was
died.
really considerate of them.
Would have died right there. Right there.
Well, good chance of it, but they were trying to be considerate, and I really appreciate that about them.
Yes. So, Jay, you ever got aliens like that?
I've never got 10 to 12 foot aliens that I can recall off the top of my head. No, and not 10 either of anything near that high. Were there any other, like, this being, did it have its feet on the ground? Was it hovering? Was there any other kind of like light phenomena nearby or anything like that?
No light phenomena. They didn't appear to be hovering. They were standing very still from what we could tell. We went back a few weeks later, I think it was, to investigate to get an idea of roughly where we were positioned in accordance to where the beings were located, to try to determine their approximate height and everything else. They look very similar to some beings that I know that are from Andromeda, that are very similar to a variety of grays. However, they don't wear clothing. They do have the similar oval-shaped head, almond-shaped eyes, black. There were actually two of them. Dave only saw one because one of them was partially cloaked and didn't want to freak him out even further by suddenly manifesting. Very simple as far as things are concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I can very much understand the partially cloaked aspect. That makes a lot of sense. It's always it's a strange. I mean, it's one of those things that's difficult to communicate or difficult to comprehend from the outset for a lot of the audience. The popular audience is that the aspect of one person seeing one thing and one person seeing another, and that, I mean, that goes back decades, centuries. You know, like the Our Lady at Fatima. You know, the three kids saw different phenomena. People that were visiting there would see different phenomena than each other. You know, it's a really amazing aspect of this, and it keeps pointing back to the consciousness aspect, and it keeps pointing back to the element where, you know, what we perceive isn't the totality of what's going on around us at any given time. And so it's things like that kind of it's hard to kind of sit and, even within our field, kind of try to drag some of the nuts and bolts people, you know, along for the ride sometimes, when you're like, you know, there are things that you're not going to see if you're just looking through a telescope, or if you're just looking through like an infrared camera or something like that, right? Because, you know, some cockpit video or whatever, like, I've never seen a kitchen table conversation happen because I looked through a cockpit video. There's all types of life and interaction that happens outside of the frame of reference of a telescope or a cockpit video, right? So it's interesting that I think that it's important to keep kind of pushing that side of the conversation as well, the aspect of who sees what and that kind of difference, because normalizing that, I think, can do a lot for future conversation.
Absolutely. Dan, what do you think? That's kind of mind-blowing, isn't it?
It is, but the thing that kind of jumped out to me is I've never heard of anybody hugging an alien, and I never would have associated like that. That's what I would consider an emotional action. Like, can you kind of elaborate on that? Like, or are you being literal when you're saying that?
Yeah.
Like, you would like, do they hug each other? I'm blown away by the hug thing. And I also, after you respond, I do want to tell you that I have a connection with you, Samantha,
Nice.
that you do not know that I have with you. So, but please elaborate on the hug thing if you can.
Samantha, I'm going to get to hold on to that answer because we do got to go to break here at the bottom of the hour, and it's a good segue into our next section. And tonight, we got a bunch of people running through. We got Jay King, we got Lynn Wallington, Samantha Mowat, Merle, and Big Bad Dan Warren from TikTok as the SOR 7th anniversary show continues. Having a lot of fun tonight. I'm feeling the love from absolutely everyone who is out here tonight. Thank you for making Spaced Out Radio such a special place to be each and every night. There is no place I would rather be, well, maybe at a Bumblefoot concert, but that's a different story for a different night. We continue with SOR right after this. All right, we're clear.
Hello, this is your guitar man,
Do you
Ron.
want me to wait until after break to
Yeah.
respond to the hug thing?
Yeah.
I'll hold that part.
Yeah, just wait till she'll screw you up there, because this one right here, dangerous.
I'm 120
Awesome.
pounds. I'm not scary.
No.
You could throw me in a lake. Come on.
Samantha literally is one of the most important people in my life. I like to tease her a little bit, but she is literally one of the most important people in my life, and she is. She doesn't know this yet because she's like a younger sister to me, but she is like one of my heroes, an idol, and just a real backbone for me when I don't understand what is going on. And she is.
Thanks, Dave. That's sweet. Don't worry. How do you know me? What's going on? Like, what's up with that? I want to understand that. I'm nosy as hell.
Are
You
talking
have to explain.
me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you led Dave into the woods
Yeah.
to meet an alien. You led me onto YouTube because you were the interview directly in front of mine when I first was on Ben and Joe's show on UFO Garage. You were the show right in front of me.
They're
And-
so sweet. I like them.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I had listened to them from the beginning, and you were on, and then they were calling out for people to have conversations that were listeners. And so then I followed in your footsteps on that, the following episode. So that's my relation to you at this point.
I love that. That's awesome. What did you get to talk to them about?
I had some night. All right, so we're making fun of people for watching UFOs in night vision goggles. That's what I was on there talking to them about because I've never had an experience. I've never had anything that I can say without a shadow of a doubt that's not of this earth. But I have a night vision monocular. I go in my backyard, listen to podcasts, watch the skies, and I've recorded 2 objects that I can't explain. So I'm not willing to say I've seen ET UFOs, but I've seen 2 things that I can't explain. So I went on the show and basically discussed it with them at that point. But then they've had me back on, and it kind of helped me. Like the thing that I like about Ben and Joe is their relatability. Like not everybody wants to jump in the deep end of the pool immediately in this topic, and they're comfortable to have a conversation with. That's what I think they bring to the table. And that's what happened with me. I felt comfortable talking to them. I wouldn't have gone on anybody else's show. But then since I was able to have that conversation with them, it did open the door for me to have a conversation with other people and then to feel confident enough to start actually putting myself out there. Like I stopped being an avatar on Twitter. I put my actual face, I put my actual name on Twitter so that people, because I started feeling like a phony. Like, why am I hiding behind this Simpsons character Kodos instead of being who I am? It's I want to have this conversation. I don't want someone to be having it for me. So that all being said, that's what helped me to get to being a content creator. And once again, I always tell people, reading stuff about UFOs and this topic is one thing, but you get a different level of understanding of it because you want to when you have to turn around and try to explain it to someone else. And you try to do it in a manner that is easy to consume. And you have to understand the topic better and more deeply when you do that. So it's a reward all to itself just to be a content creator in this topic.
I agree. If you want to like meet these beings and stuff like that, you can always come camping with us.
I want to see him from a distance.
Okay, so no camping.
We'll start a little bit further away than arm's reach.
So no opening up the tent in the middle of the night and coming in to see you type thing?
No, not unless they're bringing s'mores with them.
They haven't brought s'mores yet, but I'll ask. So who are you two? Like I now know you, but I don't know you and you.
Let me get rid of them. There you go. There's all the names.
Okay. Thank you. How do we know Merle? How do we know
Merle?
Jimmy?
Merle is Mike Morin. His middle name's Merle. And he's the guy who we had the Sasquatch encounter at Flight 21 with. And he's a paranormal investigator out of Vancouver, one of the best. Nice. And then, Lynn. And then Jay King runs an experiencers group. We just had him on the air a little while ago, and just a fantastic dude. Fantastic dude. And nice beard, nice tight beard. And it's like Insta friends with him. Insta friends.
I'm like... I'm 80% beard, 20% guy. I think that's it
works for me though, bud. We got like 5 seconds. We're going to come back here right now, so stay tuned, guys. We continue on with the SOR anniversary show tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for celebrating with us. We really do appreciate joining on in. We want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We got a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Read up on Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We got Dan Warren, we got Jay King, Lynn Wallington, Merle, and the lovely and talented Samantha Mowat here. 7th anniversary show. We're talking all things cool with Spaced Out Radio tonight. No place I would rather be. And a big thank you to all the people who are supporting this show, whether it's hitting subscribe on our channels, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I mean, we are just... It's growing, this like little monster we've created. We're just sharing some stories tonight. That's what it's all about, is sharing stories and having some fun. And right before the break, Dan had asked Samantha a question regarding aliens, UFOs. Let's get to it, Dan.
Yeah, piqued my interest when you were having the discussion with Dave about his encounter and that you were going to actually go up to these things and give them a big old hug. And so I've never heard that before in an encounter or in a desire to do so. So is that something that is common in their societal gestures, or what is it, a hug? Can you kind of elaborate on that?
Yeah, of course. No, it's not as common with a lot of the different ET societies and cultures. More so, I'm just a really huggy person, and I like to, when I see my friends or anyone else I'm encountering that I'm meeting, I do like to hug them, COVID aside, mind you, because we're not allowed to hug people now, which is unfortunate. But quite commonly when I see these beings, if I have a sense of vibrational recognition with them, which is when a lot of you have experienced this before, where you meet somebody and you have that soul recognition, like you recognize something in them, and they feel familiar to you. It's my first reaction to want to hug them and to have a moment of like compassion and love with them. And a lot of the beings I've encountered have typically been pretty open and receptive towards this. Some of them have been like, ew, she's touching me, get her off of me. But for the most part, they've been pretty nice about that.
Yeah, that would be my expectation, is they would be kind of grossed out by a human hugging them. I mean, we're covered in germs and nasty stuff. I assume they're a little cleaner than us if they're a bit more advanced than we are, at least. So it's interesting to hear that. Yeah.
Well, it's only the reptilians and a small white that I've hugged that weren't too necessarily thrilled about me hugging them. Beyond that, it seems like most have been pretty open to it, so I'm really happy about that. But when it comes to me and hugging these beings, it doesn't matter if I'm having an astral encounter with them or a physical encounter. I do like to hug them, because when you are close to somebody's auric field, you get a very clear sense of what's going on within their vibrational frequency. So in the same way, like, let's say I were to walk up to you. If I'm standing 7 feet away from you, it's hard for you to kind of read my energy. But if I'm like a foot away from you or I'm hugging you, you kind of get a good sense of who somebody is on a core essence. It's the same way with them. The stronger your auric fields are interacting with each other, the better read you get on one another.
Well, did they hug each other? Is that something
Not that
they'll
I've seen.
do? Okay.
No. They hug us, though, if we're willing to hug them, but you have to be comfortable with them, and you also give off a vibration of love and happiness when you're going to be hugging them. It's not threatening. They know I'm not going to try to hurt them or tackle them, so they kind of read your auric field and your telepathic stream to get an idea of what's happening.
All right, so if they don't hug each other, do they have another type of physical gesture that they do when they interact with someone they haven't seen in a while?
Not that I've seen. I think a lot of them hug me as a means of being accommodating. They don't tend to, like when I'm in their physical presence, they don't tend to walk up to one of the other ones that they haven't seen in a while and tend to be very interactive. Normally when I'm encountering them, it's encountering them in small groups between 1 and 6 other beings present beside myself. And normally they're aware of who else is on craft with them. I imagine when they're doing it on their home planets or interacting with another ship coming aboard and interacting with on a larger ship, then they would do stuff like that. But I haven't seen it personally. Sorry, I don't know, Dan.
Maybe one day we'll catch them off guard.
That'd be nice.
We're going to have a big alien party here in British Columbia once everything next year. Things are going to get back to normal, and we're going to have a big alien party. So, Dan, you got to bring the family up. Jay King, you got to come up. Lynn Wallington and Dave Hurley are going to vacation. Merle, you'll go chase ghosts somewhere else. And, because you're not ready for that yet, Merle. You're not ready.
My father-in-law actually hitchhiked across Canada back in the 70s when hitchhiking wasn't frowned upon. He said that he was he was from the Cleveland, Ohio area, went up into Canada from there, started hitchhiking, got a few families to take him and his buddy around. But then some dude pulled up with like a big gold chain and hairy chest and his shirt unbuttoned, and he had like a trailer of sports cars. And he was moving them from the United States to the west coast of California because they were profitable to relocate them and sell them that way. And he could just make money hand over fist doing it. So he got to drive like a Corvette across Canada in the 70s. And he was an absolute hippie. Like he had long flowing hair, great mustache, and the time of his life in Canada, and talked so fondly about it ever since then. So I've always wanted to go up there. So if you're willing to have me and my hooligans, I'm happy to take them up there.
Oh, yeah. Doors open, man. Doors open. We love to share our aliens around here. You know what? I actually have a little bit of really cool news that I've been sitting on this, stewing for this show. So the other night when my board blew up in the studio, I literally had to bring things together. And young man who works up at the gas station, he's a little bit of a tech nerd. His words, not mine. He comes over to my house, and a good friend, Corey is his name, and we're working on my motherboard, and he goes, yep, you got a $2,500 paperweight here now. I'm like, gee, thanks. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. So anyways, literally 5 minutes after he leaves my house, I get a text message. Rolled my vehicle into a ditch, black ice. Can you come help me get out of my vehicle? So I literally get in my vehicle, I go 2 seconds, and here's his vehicle on the side, and he's got the door propped open. He's like, I can't hold the door open and get out at the same time. He wasn't injured. He literally went into the ditch at like 5 miles an hour kind of thing, right? And so, long story short, the police come, and I start talking to this RCMP officer. And he's like, oh, so what was going on tonight? I explained to him I have a radio studio in my house. He was trying to fix my board, and now I have a $2,500 paperweight. Not very happy. And he goes, well, what's your radio show called, right? So I told him, and he's like, oh, you and I need to talk. He goes, the stories I could share with you over the years. And then he proceeds to tell me that there is, and this is what I'm trying to get my hands on. There is a book that is about 2 inches thick that when a UFO report comes in to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, that the attending senior officer has to fill out this entire report on UFOs. That report then gets sent to head office, which then gets sent to NORAD, which then makes the phone calls come in from every alphabet agency in Canada and the United States regarding the reports. I said, can I get a copy of this? Or where could someone get a copy of this? And he started opening his mouth, and then he's like, zip. And then we started talking more UFOs. So I am literally going to, I called him today, left a voicemail at the RCMP depot today saying, I'd like to go for coffee with you. We need to talk, and we need to share some stories. So I'm going to be working on this major story here because this is big, and it ties in both countries. How's that for some good woo right there? Quality woo.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. Lynn, how you doing up there?
I'm great. How are you?
Good.
I'm awake.
I'm surprised.
Me too. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know how much longer I'll make it, but
That's okay. You are doing wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Nicole Sackage's Wi-Fi is still down. Oh, where did Dan go? Did Dan leave?
He left a message saying he was going to bed and thank you for having him. Stuff like that.
That's Dan Warren. Yeah, you definitely want to follow him on TikTok. Biggest UFO channel out there. He's got almost 70,000 followers like that. So, yeah, we're having a good time here on the SOR anniversary show here, and thank you so much for joining. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. And we're joined by Paranormal Chop Shops, Sonny. Yeah, Sonny Conway. We're just waiting for his camera here. There it is. Sonny, good to have you on the anniversary show, buddy.
How's it going, guys?
Good. At least you're not dressed up like me tonight. So that
No, not tonight.
that makes me feel good.
I had to call in and give you some thanks, Dave, and tell you happy anniversary. The show's going so good. It's being so entertained, man. Great panel. And Chad also wanted me to tell you he's at work tonight and to tell everybody and you that he's busy and he wishes he could be here. And he's been listening. He's getting all choked up, all love and support for SOR from the fans and the chat. And you guys are awesome, man. All of us, Dave, we owe you a lot, buddy.
We really appreciate that, man. And, the fact that our listeners are here and hanging out and having a great time with us, and then we got people like Merle and Jay and Lynn and Samantha, Nicole came in, Science Bob, Ben and Joe, and Dan Warren, and the love, man. The love. That's what it's all about, man. And I'm having a good time tonight. This is pretty chill for me. I usually feel a little pumped during the show, and I gotta, you gotta perform, and it's very rare that I get to relax on the air. Use my hands, even though the radio side can't see it, but I am using them. It feels good. It feels real good, man.
It's great, man. We love it, dude.
Yes.
We're glad you're here, and like Chad said in chat, I think here's to another 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Jay?
I've got a question for you. You said you wanted to have a few questions thrown at you. I was wondering, it's usually when you start a big new project, it's not usually like the first day or even the first week that you really know that it's going to work or not. Like, what was the moment in this 7 years what was the moment where you were like, yeah, this is it. This is like I got to keep doing this, or that you realized that the kind of train tracks were opening up right in front of you, and you were going to be going down that fate train. Does that make sense?
Yeah, man. Great question. I've never been asked that. I know Samantha played a large role in that, because at the beginning I was very much, I don't know whether I should do this or not. And she was like, look, dude, you need to keep doing, you need to keep pressing. It was probably when we made the change over from Spreaker from Blog Talk Radio to Spreaker, and using that as a broadcast format, that all of a sudden Spreaker, there wasn't a lot of paranormal shows on there at that point, and we just kind of went boom on there, and it took right off, and it was kind of cool, and I started learning about a lot more people. I was still fighting YouTube, whether or not to go on YouTube, and I wanted to be a radio show. And then we picked up our first radio station, WQEE 99 Rock the Key in Newton, Georgia, and then that was followed up by UPRN in New Orleans from Joe Montaldo. And then all of a sudden, like, all of these little pieces kept falling into play. And probably the biggest one that convinced me was when I met Ron Bumblefoot Thal. I met him in 2014, and I sheepishly tweeted him and asked him if I could use a certain song for the show. I wanted to use his version of the Pink Panther that he does a guitar solo with. And he's like, you can't use that. That's owned by Warner Brothers. And he goes, hey, I love your topics. I got a song that's going to be perfect for you. And it's called Little Brother is Watching. And Women Will Rule the World. He actually wanted Women Rule the World at the beginning because it's got the real Star Trek-y type of theme. So I used that for about a year, and then I switched over to Little Brother is Watching, and it just kind of stuck. It was the song I needed to get kind of pumped up. So we came to an agreement, and Mr. Thal has absolutely loved our show. He loves it when our audience members go on Twitter or TikTok or Instagram to say, hey man, I heard your music on Spaced Out Radio. I absolutely love it. And he is a huge fan of what we're doing. He's only been on a couple of times. I try not to bug him because of his busy schedule. But that was probably the moment when I figured, you know what, I got something here. And then, I brought in my investor, Ashy from Vancouver, who's a longtime friend of mine, and he helped me build this professional studio that we have here. And then we just started pushing, and we pushed and pushed. We made a lot of mistakes along the way, a lot of financial mistakes along the way, but we're seeing the light at the end of the day. And, to this day, to be honest with you, Jay, it's still frustrating at times. It's frustrating, when you have people in the UFO community who are not very nice, or the cryptid community who don't play a fair game, or when, you think you got this bigger show, and then you hear Luis Elizondo go on some 30-person podcast and drop a major UFO bomb, and you're like, dude, why didn't you just tell me that the night before or a week ago? You had the information there. The audience was bigger, no offense to the other show, and it's a little frustrating at times. I've been frustrated in this community. I've wanted to leave this community a number of times, but I look at the audience, man. Probably the biggest turning point was there's a listener out there, and I'm not going to mention his name, okay, but this hit me a number of years ago. And he was a very religious fellow. And out of the blue, he started getting really bad alien encounters, to the point where it was happening 4 or 5 times a week. He was being abducted. He was being, he had the needles in the eyes. He had the anal probes. He had everything horrific that you could think of in nightmare type of abduction. And he was a big, burly corrections officer who worked in a maximum security or supermax prison in Missouri. And after about 3 months of this, where he barely had a night off of encounters, he was ready to shoot himself. And he found our show. He literally said a prayer, very religious man, like I said, but he couldn't take it anymore. and he asked God for a sign. He went on Google, and our show was the first one that popped up. He listened. We happened to be just coincidentally talking about ET contactees that night and encounters. And every night he was depressed, he tuned into our show. He didn't talk to us for months. He sat there in the chat room silent. And then finally he messaged me and he said, I was about to end it all because I couldn't handle it anymore. Then I found your show. And that's when I realized that we're actually making a difference to our audience. And the audience, we got to pay attention to them. They're important. Whether they're a first-time listener or whether they're a long-time listener, like Joe or like Shar or other people who've been with us since we had 20 listeners a night. That's kind of what did it. There's a responsibility, and I don't think a lot of podcasters fully understand this. They want to do a show. They want to interview all the big names. They want to make sure that they get the Dolans, the Linda Moulton Howes, the Lou Elizondos, the Chris Mellons, but they forget about their audience and the reason why they're doing it. They're doing it, 90% of the podcasts are doing a podcast for their own understanding and their own selfishness. They're not doing it for the audience. We try and do it for the audience, and we always have the audience in mind. That's probably the biggest difference. There's a responsibility that goes along with that, and that's what we take very seriously.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. Mm-hmm. And I imagine that there's a lot of other people that you'll never even hear from that were helped by just having something to listen to in the middle of the night. And I think that's really awesome that people depend on you and come to you for that. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, and they're growing. Like they're hitting, they're going to Lynn's show. They're going to the other shows that we support. And it's a growing phenomena. It really is. It's fun. It's very fun.
I've got one more question before we get to the top of the hour, if you want.
Sure. Fire away.
All right. For your audience, because it's about your audience, but, all right, who would be the great white whale of a guest, living or dead? It doesn't matter. Could be, could be Jesus Christ, could be Jimi Hendrix, could be John Keel.
I got one. I want to interview Sammy Hagar.
Who's that?
Sammy Hagar's.
I love you, Sam.
Yes. Sammy Hagar is one of the legendary rock musicians who is an alien abductee. He's been an abductee since he was 5 years old. And if you listen to the song Love Walks In by Van Halen, that tells the story of the silver. There she is in a silken gown, silver light shining down, and then you sense a change. Nothing feels the same. All your dreams are strange. Love comes walking in. Some kind of alien waits for the opening and simply pulls a string. Love comes walking in. It's all about the lady from, I believe, the 7th or 9th dimension that has visited him over the years. And I would love to sit down and have a 30-minute conversation with him strictly about the ET contact. I know a lot of people would want, Elizondo or Chris Mellon or Harry Reid or somebody political like that. Not me, man. I love hearing people's encounters and their stories. It doesn't matter whether it's ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot, or whatever. When you get to the heart of a person and they are genuine with you, that's where the beauty of the story comes out. And that's something that I've tried to teach Lynn and every host that has helped out with Spaced Out Radio over the years is try and get to the heart of that interview. How do you feel? What did it feel like when you were going through this? What was your emotions like? How did you handle it? Because we're so chop about evidence and skepticism and photos and videos and everything, we forget about the person. And in the end, we're all people. And that's what it's all about. So Sammy Hagar would be my number one. And Yeah, that would be cool.
Oh, that sounds great. That'd be beautiful. I'd love to see the hair side by side comparisons between you guys that night. There'd be such style synergy. I could imagine, Plus, there's so much wisdom that he could bestow, in the ways of opening tequila bars in Mexico and stuff like that. That'd be,
truth.
There's probably a lot going on there as well.
You know what we should do? Once we hit 30,000 subscribers on YouTube, what we should do is we should have a Cabo Wabo party in Vegas, Spaced Out Radio party. Force Sammy Hagar to come down and talk aliens with us. How would that be?
That would be amazing.
Ask your guides. Yeah, ask your guides to help arrange that, Dave. Come on.
Yeah, you and I will talk about them damn guides there.
I love the idea of it being a bum rush scenario that you'd be just kind of flash mobbing Cabo up. Don't even tell them about it beforehand. Just bring 1,000 ufology fans and spaced out fans to the Sammy Hagar's bar.
Absolutely. Panel, hold on. We got you for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio. We got Merle, Samantha Mowat, Sonny Conway from Paranormal Chop Shop, Jay King, Lynn Wallington, and myself. We're celebrating tonight. 7th anniversary of Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. 1 second here, guys. I gotta get rid of these.
Hey, space travelers. This is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities.
All right,
if you know anything...
There we go. So, Christian Blackburn, thank you so much for that lovable super chat and $5 hug for your space brother, Jay King there. Love Kristen Blackburn. She's awesome. Awesome. Who else has joined us here? The one person who hasn't joined us tonight that we were hoping for is Mr. Cowley. How the hell can we sing if Mr. Cowley's not here? Now I'm scrolling through the chat room to see if I missed him. God darn it, that would be good. That would feel real good.
Oh, guys, I think I might have to call it a night.
You can go, Lynn.
Sam, thank you so much for coming on.
No worries. I'm going to leave the same time yours. I'm so tired. Try not to yawn. Nice meeting you guys. Happy show, Dave.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Bye, Lynn. Night, Lynn.
Nice meeting everyone.
Sam, I love you. We'll talk soon, okay?
Lots of love, everybody. Bye, guys.
Thank you, Lynn.
Bye. Bye.
Well, there goes the ladies. I guess it's up to us ugly sucks here to, drag it on out now. Toe Tag, thank you so much for that super chat, buddy. Oh, there's Thin Lizzie Borden right there. There she is.
Hey.
Hey, we needed you. We just lost the ladies.
Oh, perfect timing.
Yeah, no kidding. Yes.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
I just seen a hi Dave from Andy Cowley in chat.
Where?
Oh, right towards the bottom.
There he is. There he is. Oh, we got to do this. Are you ready? Come on, Sonny. You're going to start it off. Right there.
Mr. Cowley.
Welcome back to the show. Oh, Mr. Cowley. Take it home, buddy.
Loves it Spaced Out Radio.
Yeah, there we go, man.
Yeah, that's strong.
That was strong. That was huge. Toe Tag, thank you so much for the super chat, man. And Gorgeous Anya, we love you and thank you for that super chat. Really do appreciate that. All right, where are we here? God damn, that's a good night. Now that Mr. Cowley's here, he knew. He sensed us needing him here. He totally sensed us needing him here. And boom, we nailed it. Mr. Cowley. Dun, dun, dun. Let's just hit that right off the bat. Yeah. We're going to have to record that one day.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for it that time.
Yeah. We're going to have to record it. I'm going to have to come up with some lyrics for that. That'll be our surprise for Mr. Cowley there.
It'll be the surprise for Sammy Hagar when you make him sing it when we confront him in Las Vegas. That'll be gorgeous.
Dude, that is actually, honestly, that is actually a really good promo idea, is to have a UFO conference down at the Cabo Wabo at his bar.
He'd have to come.
He would have to. Yeah. You totally think that he would.
He would.
It's not even the question. Has to.
Merle might even show up.
Merle may show up.
Look at that. Look at that.
Merle will show up.
We may get Merled.
Yeah. You will get
That's only 5 hours for me, guys. I'll be there. That's 5 hours driving time.
I've never been. If I missed anybody in the chat room, I apologize. It's been a busy night tonight. So please forgive me if I missed anybody. Mr. Cowley. Didn't miss him, though. Look at Ben. Ben's all hopped up there. He's listening in the background. Yeah, Mr. Cowley. Ben, we got to record a song for that.
If you can get Ben to sing that.
Oh, Ben's got a killer voice, man. We got to get Ben to sing that.
Now, when you do it though, does it have like actual real guitar, or is it just like mouth noises guitar?
Well, I'm telling
you, air guitar.
I'm telling you, my air guitar is fantastic with it. Army vet, Shoebox Annie, I am not familiar, but that sounds awesome. Could you send an email to, I'm going to put it in the chat room right now, send an email to Dirty Filth there, or to Bree at spacedoutradio.com, and either one of them will investigate that and try and track down. I love little stories like that, man. Love little stories like that. So, yeah, send an email over there. Bree, if you want to write that down, too. Where is it here? Shoebox Annie. I'm going to assume that's a ghost story. Shoebox Annie. That would be kind of cool.
I will get on that.
That would be cool.
Dave, what flavor?
This is orange.
Orange
ice. Gorgeous Teresa, how are you? Thank you for coming on in. We got about 45 seconds, and then, yeah. All right. Fabster's banned from Mexico and most states. Can't get his head through the border.
That's like the dad on So I Married an Axe Murderer.
That's right. Hey, everybody.
Down, head.
Cousin Gary's here, everyone. Cousin Gary has an incredible mustache. He is the king of the Alberta lip blades. He really is. Yep, that's literally my cousin. Love you, Gare. How you doing? Okay, here we go, everyone. Final hour.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for hanging on out with us during our anniversary show. We really do appreciate it, especially those listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. I don't even know how to pronounce this. Ranunculatius. Ranunculatius is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot, reading up on Shirky Poo's Newswire, checking out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. For the final time, we introduce the big panel as we have lost for the night Lynn Wallington and Samantha Mowat, along with Dan Warren and Nicole Sackage. But Merle's still here. Jay King, he's being a trooper. And we got Sonny from Paranormal Chop Shop. And from Team Spaced Out Radio, we have one of our classy booking ladies, It is Bree who is here. You may know her in the chat room as Thin Lizzie Borden. Welcome, everyone, back to the show. All right. We're going to take some questions here. Fire away questions. You know, Sonny, Merle, Jay, Bree, if you could see anybody on Spaced Out Radio, who would you like us to interview? Who do you want? Go ahead, Jay.
I don't know if this is going to be too controversial or not, but I've only heard him speak about these things a few times. But in terms of fun, entertaining Canadian people that are interested in the paranormal, I would love to see Dan Aykroyd on the program.
Me too.
Oh, you beat me.
Me too, man.
Yeah.
Me too. I've tried getting a hold of both him and Billy Corgan, because Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins claims to be an ET contactee as well. And with Dan being Canadian, Dan Aykroyd being Canadian, and his father actually being a former Mountie, you know, and seeing and getting into all this stuff, I would love to get both of them on the air. I would. That would be my top three right there, to be blunt. My top three. You know, I mean, if you want to explode in this field, you got to, like, everybody's interviewing the same people. You got to reach out and try and interview different people and get to those stars, so to speak. You know, it doesn't matter if they were a star in the 80s or 70s. You know, I mean, hell, if they start on 8 is enough, I'm good with that. I'm good with that if we're going way back in time. You know, whatever it may be. I wish more stars would open up about their experiences. But in talking to my buddy Jamie about this, a lot of them don't want to. There's certain things that it's almost like there's these unwritten rules by stars that they don't want to be on the circuit, so to speak, because of it's a nightmare for their publicists. It's a nightmare for their agents, because the minute you get into the woo, Hollywood seems to back right off for the most part. Like, I would love to interview somebody like Jim Carrey, who is, you know, he's literally deep into consciousness now and talking heavily about consciousness. I would love to talk to him about what snapped, what made him go down this path. Let's talk about it. But a lot of them don't want to, you know. I remember, you know, we're followed by a couple of famous people who listen to the show. And one time we actually had, do you remember Brett Butler from Grace Under Fire? Well, she's very psychic. And we talked about her being psychic and in Hollywood. And there are plenty of psychic people in Hollywood. Like Drew Barrymore has her own psychic shop, or was working in a psychic shop just to give readings to people. And now she's got a talk show and trying to be the next Oprah, but, you know, it is what it is. But they can't usually go out publicly with that because they don't want to ruin any future opportunities, whether it's touring, whether it's albums, whether it's movies, television shows, hell, even infomercials. They just don't want to do it. So the key is trying to open them up. That's what we're trying to do. Will we be successful? I don't know. I'm working with my buddy Jamie on things like that right now. There may be no
I love
future.
that. I love that idea. I think that's a great 2022 goal. You know, get some more celebs to open up about their experiences. That would be a really beautiful thing. Because I mean, you know, we talk about the like what can happen on the front of the newspaper, and then, you know, the last time that I was on your program, Dave, we talked about Demi Lovato, you know, things like that. But gosh, you know, like if you just had, what if like LeBron James was like, you know what, I've been contacted my whole life. You know what I mean? Like what? I mean, it seems really simple and kind of stupid, but at the same time, like the way that stuff like that could open up the conversation would be like absolutely like earth shattering in some ways. You get 5 people like that, the whole world changes.
Well, and that's exactly it. It's trying to build, you have to build a safe environment. You can't have a 3-hour show with people like that. You have to get it done, if you're lucky, in 45 minutes maybe an hour, most likely 30 minutes of just, okay, tell us your story. What happened? How long has this been happening to you? Has this happened before? What are you trying to do? Why is this important to you? How has it bothered you? How has it affected you? How has it affected your career? And you got to go boom, 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 in, out, done, put it on YouTube. That's it. That's all you can do. But you have to gain that trust. And the one thing, like my buddy Jamie, who I'm talking to about this idea for our channel, and I'm hoping we can make it happen in the new year, is we're hoping that some of these people that he knows actually will trust him enough of knowing him for 25, 30 years that they will be comfortable enough to come on the air and tell us the story. I remember about 4 years ago, former Guns N' Roses guitarist and 6am guitarist DJ Ashba posted on his Instagram a video of, from his security cameras of his patio door. You see the curtains in front of the patio door, the camera's outside, and it's facing a patio door, and the curtains kind of ruffle. The door opens, and then the door closes. Nobody was home. Nobody came out of that door, and nobody went back in to close it. And the door opened fully. Not just a crack, but opened fully, and then back. I mean, that is, tell us that story. If you're living in a haunted house, or somebody like DJ Ashba, who collects a lot of horror type of, he loves the horror genre. I want to know about that. Maybe he's got some haunted objects in there. Or Rob Zombie. He sung about UFOs. Great song, by the way. He is, he loves his horror movies. I would love to get him on. Give me 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Tell me your experiences. That's it. I don't care about your career. Don't care about your next album. Don't care about anything. Just tell us your experiences. That's it.
Sure, and like Dave Grohl, his whole band is named after UFOs, right? Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
And he's come out a couple times and said, "Yeah, I follow that stuff pretty seriously. I still follow that stuff pretty seriously." And I don't know how much he says that for show, but I would love to hear somebody get him on the air to talk about it at some point. You know what I mean? Even if it's just to, talk about like the 3 books he read when he was a kid or whatever. You know what I mean? That would be a beautiful situation for his audience, if not ours. You know what I mean?
And that is a great idea. I'm hoping we can make this fly. It's going to be difficult. My buddy Jamie and I got to talk about it and see if we can make it happen. We really have to try on that. And, who knows? It may take off. We may have, my goal is once a week, but it may be once a month. Don't know. But you got to start, right? And we got to start lining up potential guests and making a list and everything like that. So that's where it goes. But yeah, I would love to hear these stories, man. Would love to. Right? It would be interesting.
Well, I kind of stole it with Dan Aykroyd. Nobody else got to say like who'd be, Bree or Sonny or Merle.
We have one this month coming on. For me, is kind of don't want to say cross off the list, but somebody I've really wanted to speak in depth to. Like we're speaking to Andrea Perron on our Ghost of the Great White North segment. So she's going to talk about her Conjuring House experiences since she grew up in it. And I can't wait to pick her brain about a lot of the stories and actual experiences she had. I have a ton of questions ready for her. And Chris Jericho, he's another one. He's big into the paranormal. He's big into cryptids. He's big into ghosts. If I can bring anyone back from the dead, I'd love to have a chat with Lorraine Warren or Hans Holzer. Those are 2 that I really want to chat to, especially Ed and Lorraine. That would be a wicked interview.
See, for me, if I were to go into the past, it would probably be either J. Allen Hynek or I'd love to interview Stanton Friedman again. I would, God bless Stanton Friedman. He passed away 3 years too early. I would love to see where he would be standing on all of these topics UFO right now. I remember the first time I interviewed Stanton Friedman, I had to do a 2-hour recording with him. And the first little bit, I was so nervous. I'd only ever froze once in my journalism career, and that was when I interviewed, I was in a media scrum with Wayne Gretzky. And I was literally about 9 inches away from Gretzky, holding my microphone right at his face, and he turned and looked at me. And I was like, in front of, like, all my colleagues are all around me, and I'm like, and I did that with Stanton Friedman. And finally I stopped and I said, Stanton, I apologize, but I got to get this out. And I went, holy bleep, I can't believe Stanton F. Freeman is on my radio show right now. And he starts laughing and he goes, well, Dave, in his real gruff voice. He goes, well, Dave, you know, I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like you. And it cut the tension right there. We had a great interview after that. We really did. It was amazing. Loved Stanton Friedman. Loved him.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's amazing.
Just one of those little moments, you know? One of those little moments that just happens during the show. I mean, we've had a lot of those little moments. Bree, who would you like to see?
I have a few of them. For going like an actor, I would say probably Shatner. He seems like he would be interesting to talk about, you know, that kind of stuff with.
Yeah, that's a good one. That is a very
Plus now
good
he went. Yeah, plus now he went to space, or the
Yeah.
edge of it anyway. So there, I mean, I've heard his take on that, but maybe there's a sneaky curveball we could throw in there on that 12 minutes that he had up there, or whatever it worked out to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of makes you wonder if they have to sign a non-disclosure agreement that if they see a UFO, that they got to keep quiet. I'd be curious to see that.
I wonder about that too, right? Because, like, you know, as much as Elon Musk flies off the handle on Twitter pretty frequently, and as much as he is totally willing to talk about simulation theory or the idea that we're not living in base reality and all that stuff, the fact that he was with Grimes for, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years there, like, there has to have been, like, plenty of, like, slumped on the couch alien talks, like, happening in that house, I'd have to imagine, right? And so, yeah, I have to figure there must be an NDA situation happening, right? Because and then at the same time, you know, like, you do meet people that get off on like having a good secret, right? So maybe he's just one of those guys. I don't know. You know?
I don't know.
What do the rest of you think? Yeah, right? It's tough. I don't, yeah, I guess you, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, I know if I had to sign one, I don't know. If I signed it, I would be thinking, okay, it's because I'm not going to see anything. But if I did see something, I don't know if I could keep quiet. I might get myself in trouble. Dave, could you?
I agree.
Could you keep quiet if you seen a UFO up there, Dave, and you signed something and said you wouldn't say anything?
I'm going to tell you right now I could, because I can be bought. I can totally be bought. You know, I have often...
why we like you.
I have often said on this show that if the Canadian government ever came up to me and said, we will pay you X amount of dollars if you shut down your show tomorrow, if I ever leave, it's because I got bought. Plain and simple. You know, if they offered me, say, $500,000 and let's say a job at their Woo office in Ottawa, I'm gone, people. I am gone. You know, if I could work like be a Canadian Elizondo or something like that, oh hell yeah, I'm in. Sign me up. You know, I'm sure if I was like 15 years younger, it might work better. But seriously, I mean, I think we would all do that. I think we all would. If all this, think about it. Your mortgage is paid off. Your vehicles are paid off. You got everything. You got money in the bank, and you get to work the Woo desk. That is a dream job come true. Totally, maybe for a couple of tacos too. Throw in some tacos, and I'm definitely there.
Now, yeah, you drive a hard bargain. Obviously, once it gets into the taco terrain, yeah. There's somebody out there listening right now, some spook, and they're just like furiously writing down, plus the tacos. Got to remember the tacos. Energy drinks, looking in the background. You need some more guitars. That'll do it. We're going to get this guy off the air before the 8-year mark.
You know what's funny? In my 7 years, I have never... we only got about 5 minutes left. In my 7 years on the air, I've never been threatened. I've never had any agency call me up. I've never had black vehicles in front of my house. I've never had black helicopters. I've never had anything. And I'll be honest with you, I'm a little jealous over that. I've never had the knock on the door saying, you got to keep quiet. The only time something really weird happened this is going back about 2 years ago. Everett Thiemer and we were going down a really woo conversation on the phone one night. And it was one of these 3.5-hour phone calls. And this was right after the To the Stars Academy had come out. And so, 4 years ago now, maybe, no, it was about a year after the TTSA. And literally, our phone line kept getting cut. And it was like, this is getting weird. And then we called back, and we couldn't connect with each other. And then all of a sudden, it would connect back and be like, hey, man, how you doing? This is getting weird. And then the phone would cut again. And then I think it was the third or fourth time it got cut, we actually challenged them and said, okay, if you guys at the CIA or NSA or wherever are listening to this phone call, cut the line again. Bang. Phone line got cut again. Like instantaneously. Right? And so we hooked up with each other right away again, and we were just killing ourselves laughing. Like, this is awesome. That was the first time and only time something like that weird happened during the show. Very weird. Otherwise, no black helicopters, no knocks at the door, nothing. I must be boring. I must be just some boring Canadian who...
Yeah, we'll see how long and after you speak it out into the universe, something happens.
Oh, exactly. And be careful what you wish for, right? Be it Return of Carl, be it Carl's Jr., or the black helicopters, right?
I'm okay with that.
My goodness.
I'm okay with Carl coming back. The time Carl came back, man, and I could hear the conversation going on in my yard, much like the movie Signs.
I was just cool. About to ask if it was similar to that.
Yeah, that was really, really cool. You know what? I figured out something, Jay, and a lot of people have not gone down this road. Okay, I know how they leave. If you got aliens, I know how they leave, because it happened with Samantha and I in the forest, and it happened when Carl showed up with his buddies in my yard. Okay? How they leave is this. They put in your head that if you go to a different area, you're going to see more. You're going to see the mother craft. You're going to see other extraterrestrials. You're going to be surrounded. It's going to be like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, man. And when you get to that other place, you literally sit there for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, waiting for things to happen, and nothing happens. And then when you go back to the original place of the incident, they're gone.
Classic Irish exit.
Yeah.
They learned from the best.
That is how they disappear, and nobody talks about that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there also seems to be some like instantaneous kind of cloak out type of things. And then there's also the situation of just kind of like, blacking you out altogether. That it seems like they could do just about anything after that, right?
You got that right.
Whichever them they are. Yeah. Oh.
There he is, John Hudson, with the
John
fedora.
Hudson.
What's up, buddy?
How you doing?
Couldn't miss out on this, man. Happy birthday, Dave.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. John has become an integral part of what we do on Spaced Out Radio. And he's going to be more of an integral part, joining Big Willie and Gemma Jade on the new weekend show After Hours. So he's going to be here like 5 days a week doing the UFO reports for us, and then on the weekends with everything else and the After Hours show. John, you're amazing, buddy.
That's true, Dave. That's a lot of nights.
You can handle it.
Maybe I should be thinking about this. That's good, you know.
That's true. I am amazing.
It should be a lot of fun. It should be a lot of fun. It's especially it's going to be so interesting because, you know, as you mentioned before, Dave, you know, a lot of us tend to kind of glob together, and, you know, like, you know, you and I have a lot of the similar kind of interests and topics and so forth. But when it comes to Gemma, myself, and Willie, we all come from, you know, from pretty different angles, and especially Gemma. And so it's going to be a lot of fun to see the kind of different opinions that generates. And I'm hoping to learn quite a bit.
We're going to learn quite a bit here, guys, and we got to wrap up this segment. Bree Borden, Jay King, Merle, Sonny from Paranormal Chop Shop, and, of course, John Hudson. I know you're going to stick around. Bree, if you want to stick around for the After Hours show, you could do that, too. Sonny, you as well. Jay, if you want to stick around, if you're still feeling awake in about half an hour, we are going to take this to the other side, off the air. Coming up next, we're going to join Shane and the Shift in Vancouver. We're going to go cross Canada about a new UFO report regarding the Canadian Armed Forces, and we may get into some SOR as well. Shirky Poo's news is coming up as well. Jam-packed final half hour next. Hey, Vancouver.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio fans. It's John Rudd.
Good. How you doing?
We're doing all right. Just trying to stay dry down here in Vancouver. Yep.
Yeah. I can't even get home, man, to visit my parents. Yeah. My mom just got out of hospital.
Huh. Yeah, I know. It's been something else these last few weeks.
Oh yeah. So we got about what? We got about 6 minutes.
36.
36. Okay, we'll talk to you then. I'm going to put you on mute. Hey, how's Shane's beard?
It's coming in. It's getting more Santa-like every week.
Beautiful. Okay, talk to you in 6 minutes. All right, that's Vancouver. Yeah, guys, if you guys want to stick around, come. You can hang out in the green room, or you guys can log off and come back in. Or if you got to go for the night, that's really cool too. But we will do the After Hours show coming up here as soon as we get off the air in about 30 minutes, because I got to do the hit with Vancouver. And yeah, John, you look like you're going to fall asleep.
Yeah, it's been quite a week. Yeah, it's a little hard staying awake when you're all by yourself in your house. So.
Yeah, I hear you. Do you have a teddy bear you can snuggle with?
Luckily, I got my puppy dog right here, so I'm good.
Right on. So if anybody wants to join us, you guys are more than invited for the after show in about 30 minutes. That's cool.
Bedtime for me.
I know, Merle. I know. I appreciate you, buddy.
All right, man.
All right. Have a good night, Merle.
Ciao.
Merle.
See you, Merle.
Merle.
Later, man.
Gotta love Merle. Jay, if you want to hang out, you're more than welcome to. Or if you got to get going, that's cool too, man.
Oh gosh. Let's see. You mean like kick me out for now, or come back in a half hour? Or
you can hang out. I just need your mic on mute.
Okay. Yeah. I'll mute.
Cool.
Sure.
Sonny, same with you, buddy.
I'm good.
Yeah, I know you'll hang out. Bree's gonna hang out. I already can tell, because her husband's like, yeah, you're gonna be on that damn show, lady. You're gonna be on that damn show, because that's my favorite show.
Oh, he's sleeping, but
he'll listen to it tomorrow on Spotify.
Oh yeah, good point. He'll be driving around and be like, yeah,
you can hang out.
I'll be right back.
Yep. Yeah, this is kind of cool. I do a once a month hit, and literally this goes right across Canada, so it's kind of cool. Very cool. All right. Everthemer, how you doing over at the other room with Kit Kat? That's old school over there. Hi, Sandra. All right. What do we got here? We got about 3 minutes. All right. Johnny, you look, seriously, buddy, you look tired, man.
Yeah, well, it certainly could be sleeping better.
Yeah.
So,
Johnny? Yeah. Hey, John Davies, I got to get you to mute. I got to do a hit with Vancouver here.
Could be sleeping better. So,
Yeah. And you got your YouTube channel up.
John Davies, I got to get you to mute. I got to do a hit with Vancouver here.
And your speakers are on. Look at that shirt. That is a nice shirt. John Davies, everyone. He is one of the this man's if there is ever a guru in the UFO community, it is John Davies. I don't know how he does it, but he is a guru. The hit's going to be from a 36 to 52 on the clock here. Everett and Kat, they're in the Spreaker chat room right now. Also, Sparkles on Facebook, along with Penman Mike Mediel and Little Ronnie Moniak on Facebook. We appreciate you guys. Much love to all of you guys. And we're going to get going here in about 30 seconds. I'm going to mute you guys. John, I'm going to mute you. And then you guys could just tune on into Vancouver here momentarily. And I better get my information going here. This one right here. That's the one I need. All right there. So this is cool. All right, guys. Thank you to all the super chatters. Thank you to all the veterans who are tuning in. We always love you, and we always got a warm place in our hearts for veterans in our chat room. You always got a safe home here. We're going to get going here with Vancouver here momentarily. Hold on, guys. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you for attending our 7th anniversary show. We really do appreciate it. Want to remind you that if you missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, and so much more. All right, at this time of the night, we're going to join Shane and the Shift as we go right across Canada, talking all the weird stuff here.
The world of the woo. It's
Yes.
been a couple of weeks since we've had young David on. Are we there? Are we connected to the aliens?
I'm hearing you, man. The aliens are loud and clear, my friend.
The space and the connections and all the things. Oh, guess what? I heard a little birdie told me that it was the 7th anniversary of Spaced Out Radio, and I'm assuming because it's Spaced Out Radio, it is 7 Earth year anniversaries. You never really know with Spaced Out Radio. Congratulations, David, on your milestone.
Thank you so much. You know, in radio, if you can last more than 3 years on anything, it's a height of success. The fact that we have been going into the weird and the woo for the last 7 years, and we have no idea what stopping is all about. So we're just going to keep on going and run the woo train to see as far down the tracks as we could go, my friend.
Run the woo train. Oh, that's good. Okay, now I do want to hear some of your wildest stories, but I want to talk about something new first, and then hang on for some of the wildest over the last 7 years Spaced Out Radio things that even you, Dave Scott, are still surprised with today. Let's get into this favorite topic of yours that you have this love-hate relationship with, which is the Canadian government and UFO reports. I know you hate the dance, but you kind of love the dance.
Oh, yeah.
There is new info. What's going on?
Well, what's happening here is Daniel Otis, contributing freelance journalist to Vice magazine, who's really taken the UFO story in Canada by the tail because no other real or other experienced journalists or people from a major newspaper won't grab it, but Daniel has, and he has a brand new report that involves the Royal Canadian Air Force and a squadron out of Ontario that had some of its fighters, I believe, in the British Columbia area, probably stationed at Comox on Vancouver Island. And this report came out of September 20th, 2016, where an Air Canada Express pilot flying to Vancouver reported 3 red lights 3,000 feet above him, while 25,000 feet over an uninhabited stretch of the north coast. Now, this has been declassified by the RCAF after they reviewed their radar data, but they found nothing near the plane. And now they're trying to figure out what was happening. But this is really one of the first reports where we are actually hearing that CF-18 Hornets have been scrambled by NORAD to try and intercept UFOs.
Wow. It's amazing when it gets real like that, right? I mean, you and I can talk about this all day about, well, maybe, guess what I heard? But when it gets, like, by the way, they're sending jets, that gets real quick, doesn't it?
It really does. And this is what we need more of. We just don't need these reports. We need the former and current CF-18 fighter pilots coming forward and saying, I went through this. I was called on one of these scrambles by the Canadian Armed Forces trying to intercept these craft. We don't know what we were. I want our own tic-tac, man. I want our own tic-tac information. There are governments and military all over the world who are opening up about their encounters with strange craft in the sky. Why hasn't the Canadian military done so as well? And once again, I will preface, I'm sure you're sick of me saying this on your program, but once again, we have the Canadian media covering this story from an American standpoint, and not a single member of the mainstream media is asking Canadian politicians, what is Canada's role in ufology? This is becoming very, very strange that they are being so silent, and more strange that the media will cover this story from an American standpoint and an American military standpoint, but will not ask the questions that need to be asked on how this affects Canada, Canadian airspace, and what we are doing about it for our own national security.
Now, looking back at some of the history of these stories and this political dance that is happening, Dave, is there any change on what you see, what's happening now that it's starting to get the exposure? Have you seen any traction getting you this info?
Not at all. We have NDP leader Jagmeet Singh too busy doing TikTok memes that everybody else is doing in the world. We have Justin Trudeau, who is supposed to be answering this. We know he's been read in on this subject, and he is not talking about it. Neither is the Liberal Party. As far as we know about the Conservative government, we hear that they are potentially, there's a few people interested behind the scenes, but leader Aaron O'Toole, who is a former member of the Canadian Armed Forces, has yet to want to go public about anything, which I do not know why. I mean, dude, you're a politician. You've already got your pension locked up, your military pension locked up. Tell us about them damn aliens already.
I love it. It's fantastic. Dave Scott, 7th anniversary of Spaced Out Radio. Pretty exciting for you and all your hard work in putting this together. With the exception of a couple of mistakes, like, for example, I've noticed that you've taken the beard off.
Yeah.
I mean, you're handsome underneath that
Thank
coat,
you.
but, I did like the beard. That's just my opinion.
I know you do.
I know. It looks really good. It's white like mine, so it makes me feel young. Now, over the 7 years, Dave, there's got to be a couple of stories that really stand out in the world of the woo that even surprised even you. And you're the kind of guy that if something's going on, I can call and say, hey, what are your thoughts on this? When Dave Scott is your friend, nothing surprises Dave Scott. Like, you have to understand the world this guy rotates in. Nothing surprises Dave Scott. So what are some of the stories that you've encountered? Maybe you can give us a couple, Dave.
I could give you.
Even surprised you.
I can give you two examples that jump out of my brain right off the bat. And I mentioned this one to my audience earlier on the show. April 20th, 2015, I was interviewing a gentleman named Harvey Kraft about Buddha of all topics. And we were on Blog Talk Radio back then, real small. And I had this little studio built in a bedroom in the front of my house right by my front door. Outside, I had my night lights off, my outdoor lights off. I don't know why, because I always had them on in the evenings, but I turned them off. It was like 3 nights in a row. I didn't put them on. And while I'm interviewing him, about 17 minutes into the interview, I see something move out of my window, which I think, oh my goodness, there's somebody coming to the door, and now my dogs are going to start barking, and my dogs aren't going to shut up, and the walls are paper thin, and I'm going to, get barking in the background. This is not good radio. But my dogs never started barking. So Harvey's talking on the radio, and I turned to look, to get up and look out the window to see who is at my front door, and that's where I noticed, like 4 feet away, right in front of me, I saw the big gray head and the giant black almond-shaped eyes that were staring back at me from the other side of the window as there was an alien gray standing there watching me.
Do you think they come because it's Dave Scott and they're just checking in, like they're listening far away, and they're like, we want to check out who this hairy bugger is from northern BC?
I have no idea, but I could tell you I screamed like a banshee, and it scared the daylights out of me. I jumped back up to the window because I wanted another look, and this thing was gone. Completely gone. If it disappeared anywhere, I would have been able to see it. I totally would have been able to see it. And I was not able to see where it went and how it disappeared, but it was gone. So yes, and that's how the legend of Carl came along with our show as our show mascot, because he needed a name, so the name Carl kind of jumped into my head, and that's what I named him. So
why Carl?
Why not?
I guess so. Good point. Very valid.
He didn't look like a Jed or a Harold or whatever, but yeah, that one was pretty weird.
Named Harold. So that would be when you know somebody by that name, you immediately picture that person.
Yes.
Yeah, so I get that. All right, so you've got aliens coming to your house, Dave Scott. What are the other stories 7 years later of Spaced Out Radio that surprise even you?
All right, I was interviewing this gentleman named Anthony Kenyatta, and he claimed to have this haunted doll named Harold, by the way, that had literally the spawn of Satan living inside the doll. So this intrigued me, and I talked to Anthony beforehand, and, I said to him point blank, I said, Anthony, we're going to have a good interview. He's like, I'm a little nervous. I don't really talk about this stuff. I don't really know you. I don't know if you're going to make fun of me or anything like that. So, no, we're going to have a good time. And he forewarns me. He says, Dave, Harold is known to do things during shows that I'm on. And I'm thinking, okay, we're going to get the whole hang-up thing, and, the phone's going to disconnect, and, oh, that was Harold, or that was Harold, whatever. Nope, not on this night, my friend. Here I am interviewing Anthony. We are 45 minutes into the show, and I'm now living up north here in Wooville, where I live in British Columbia. And I've got this makeshift studio in my basement right near my laundry room, and it was hilarious to look at. And I'm broadcasting, and when you see something out of the corner of your eye that you turn and look? So we're talking about Harold being the spawn of Satan, and I see something out of the corner of my eye. I turn my head to the left and look, and right over my shoulder, I see this 4.5, 5 foot black cloaked figure standing there staring right at me. And then, poof, it disappeared right in front of my eyes. And once again, because I'm a little bit of a screamer, I screamed like a banshee again. And I'm telling you. So I get back on the air, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're not going to believe what just happened. I said, I think Harold was here. And Anthony was like, what did you see? And I told him about this cloaked figure, very thin and frail. and then it just disappeared right in front of me. And he goes, "Oh my God, my friend just had that exact thing happen to her 2 days previous."
Wow. So the notion is that because the doll was there, you were talking about the doll, that the spirit came and arrived just to let you know, by the way, don't screw this up.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Wow. I didn't take you as a screamer. I thought you'd be one of those guys that would be like super curious and just like immediately get right into it.
Oh, when I get startled, I you give a quick scream and then you're like, okay, game face back on and make things happen.
So what is it about the dolls, though? I mean, we all find the dolls scary, Pet Cemetery style, Chucky, like all those things, right? So why is it that we find, what is it with the dolls and the connection to the woo here?
Well, the dolls are originally created as death dolls. That's the folklore behind any sort of doll, is that when somebody died, you would take their ashes and put them inside the doll, so that way their spirit could grow inside the doll and you could keep them forever. That's why so many of these people claim that all of these antique dolls are haunted. And let's face it, when you get a ceramic face doll, it's scary looking at the best of times. Now, an interesting quick story here. My buddy Merle from Paranormal Road Trippers in Vancouver was investigating up in Quesnel, British Columbia, one of the most haunted dolls in the world. All right? And this haunted doll that is in Quesnel nearly killed him. This doll put Merle in a trance, and Merle wasn't feeling good. So he walked out of the... Mandy is the doll's name. Mandy put Merle in a trance, and Merle started feeling really sick, walks out the door of the museum, and is grabbed 10 feet from the highway by one of his team members because he was walking towards the highway, and he was going to stand on the highway and get hit because Mandy didn't want him around.
I don't love it, but I love it because it scares the crap out of me. So you're telling me some of these old dolls literally have ashes inside?
Some of them. Hard to find. I don't want to find one. I don't like the haunted stuff, man.
You don't want to crack it open and find out. That's one of those things that I don't need to know. Isn't that the kind of the way that works?
Well, it's easy. If you see a 100-year-old plus doll, don't buy it. Probably haunted. It's nice and simple.
Don't buy it. That's very good and very good advice. Absolutely. Dave Scott, spacedoutradio.com to check out the show. Congratulations, Dave. I do know how much you love this. It's a labor of love and how hard you work with all of it, too. And it's great to see you cross this milestone.
Thank you.
7 years with the show. And you don't do it the easy way. Like, you started out just getting it online, trying to get it on the radio here and there, and it has worked. And everyone has stuck around. So congratulations, Dave.
Thank you, my friend. And thank you to everybody at Chorus and The Shift for allowing us to be a part of your family as well. And we really enjoy this time. So thank you so much, Shane, to you and your team for allowing us the opportunity to share these weird stories with you.
Love it. We'll talk to you soon, bud.
All right. Let's say goodnight to Shane and hello to our audience. We were going to go to the news here, but we still got a panel here. Now we've been joined by Jonathan Davies, who is experiencer extraordinaire. This man is the guru of getting people together for information. And Jay King is still with us. Sonny from Paranormal Chop Shop is here. We got John Hudson, and somewhere Bree has taken a break, but I think she'll be back. I think she will. John, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, mate. Congratulations. 7th anniversary. Amazing work.
Oh, man. You know, if I had the insider information that you did, you know, I'm glad I don't know, because I would be an absolute mouthpiece with it. I would. But thank you so much, my friend. And John and I have been talking for a couple of years here. And for people who don't follow Jonathan Davies on Twitter at I Want to Know UK, and on his podcast, and I apologize off the top of my head, John, name of your podcast is?
Special Access Podcast.
Yeah.
.co.uk.
Yeah, that one you want to listen to. There is some huge information on there. Jay, do you know John?
Yeah. We were just speaking earlier today, actually, oddly enough. And
how you doing, Jay?
I'm
nice
doing well. It's nice to meet you too. I saw your message earlier that you were going to be able to make it later when it was morning for you. And so I was like, I'm just going to get another cup of coffee. I want to be on we've been like ships passing in the night and situations like this before. And it's just, I was like, I can't leave before John Davies gets on. This is too good. I'm happy to see you, man.
My daughter was going to school, and so I was a bit late joining you guys. And then she dropped a glass. So there was glass everywhere. The dogs were stepping in the glass, and it was a nightmare. So I'm a bit late. So I apologise for that.
Oh, no worries.
Show, not for this one.
No worries. John, let me ask you, you've been tuning into our show for a while. We only got about 3 minutes left, and then, on our YouTube side, we'll do a little bit of an after show, as we always do. But for you, you listen to a number of podcasts and everything. You've become a fan of ours. You've promoted us a little bit, and I want to say a big thank you for allowing us to gain your trust and your knowledge, and you becoming a guest on this show. That really means a lot to me, man.
Oh, you're welcome, mate. I really enjoy the show. I tune in whenever I can, and everyone should really tune into this show because it's a bit of fun, but you also get a lot of good information on this show.
Well, I appreciate that. And you have so much knowledge that, I got to bring you back on. I mean, when I had you on a few weeks ago, it wasn't enough. And I'm definitely going to be, trying to line up a date with you for January to get you back on to talk about this. Actually, I will need you in December, John, because near the end of December, we are going to be doing a UFO year in review with a bunch of different podcasters, and I definitely want you on board with that.
Okay, great. No worries.
He's a man of many words. John Davies. How you doing there, John Hudson?
Doing good.
You're still with us?
Oh, yeah, I'm still here.
Absolutely. And our man Sonny from Paranormal Chop Shop. Always a pleasure to have you here, buddy.
Thank you, man. Having a good time.
Yeah. And Jay King is here from the Experiencer Group. I'll tell you, it's one of the top. If you have experiences and you need to know what's going on, that is the group to get your information from. That is for sure. Jay, having you step in like this, man, it really meant a lot.
Oh, I'm just really happy and honored to be here. It's a great day for the Spaced Out community, and it was a pleasure to see your text earlier today and inviting me. That was a really nice surprise. I love our conversations. I love having some nice jokes with you on the chat during the day every once in a while, and it's great to be here in the evening. I love your show, and I'm a big fan of John Davies, and I'm very happy to meet Sonny and John. I re-meet John Hudson and everybody else that I've been speaking with tonight. It's been great.
Right on. Gentlemen, I'm going to get you to hold on here for just a little bit because we're going to take this thing home here tonight. 7 years we have been broadcasting Spaced Out Radio, and it is just as fun today as it was 7 years ago. Sure, I'm a little older. I'm a little grayer. My eyes are a little weaker, but I'll tell you, it is still a lot of fun sharing the night with each and every one of you out there in Radio Land. And it is something that is very special to me. It is special to my family. It is special to absolutely everyone involved with Spaced Out Radio. I want to say a big thank you to our team, Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal, for our great music, Spooky and Gail and Lynn and Willie and John and Bree and Jennifer and, so many other people who have come on in and helped us out. Dirty Filth as well with his amazing art, and it cracks me up all the time. You need a team behind you. Vincent, who does all of our videos, you need a good team behind you in order to be able to put this show on a nightly basis. I could never do it without each and every one of them, and I especially could not do it without our amazing audience that we have both live and on the podcast side of everything, listening to our archives, and we really, really do appreciate each and every one of you becoming family with Spaced Out Radio. We have Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone sitting in our YouTube chat, Twitch, Revolution Radio, Spreaker, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too, as the train starts to roll on year number 8 of the mighty SOR. Good night.
Hi, I'm Randy, and this is Dave. We're the founders of Bombas, the most comfortable socks in the history of feet. So comfortable, we sold and donated millions of pairs. To sell and donate a lot of socks, we became obsessed with comfort. We reinvented the sock from the ground up, adding comfort innovations along the way. It worked. People tried them, loved them, told their friends about them, helping us sell and donate millions of pairs.
Try them now at bombas.com/comfy and get 20% off your first order. That's BOMBAS.com/comfy.
Socks are the #1 most requested item in homeless shelters. Underwear is the second, shirts are third. At Bombas, socks were first, made with comfortable details for everyday wearing. Then underwear and shirts too, all designed to perfectly fit. At Bombas, every item you purchase means you're donating an essential clothing item to someone in need. One comfortable clothing item for you, one donated to someone in need. Bombas, comfort for all. Get 20% off your purchase at bombas.com/comfy.